Not my fault. Not my fault. Not my fault. Not my fault. Nick was late. Not my fault. Nick showed up at 2:10.
Yeah, that's not that late. What about the other 20 minutes?
Well, we have to prep the show, dude.
I don't know about you. I was already prepped.
No, fuck you. We're
I was
not.
absolutely
I
prepped.
watched you make all of your banners, dude.
I'm
You
prepped for
just
next week.
take accountability. Take accountability when you're wrong. Just say, I was
Never,
late and this was my fault.
never. Has in the immortal wise words of Gandalf, I'm never late. I always arrive precisely when I mean to.
No, yeah, that's true. But just
Mhm.
'cause that you meant to be late.
But I was not late.
Yeah, you were.
I meant to arrive at 2:10 exactly, and I
No,
did.
you meant to arrive, but you should have arrived at
Should
1:50 so that we could be on time.
should, could, would, these are words that don't matter. What matters is I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. Was?
I'm gonna let you just dig
I don't
yourself
know.
into that one.
Look, there's a really good saying there, right? Should, could, would don't matter. What matters is, did, was. There's a saying there. There's a quote there, but it will take me like a day of finagling the language to actually get it right.
Okay, good. Well, we don't have that because, you're late, so we don't have a day left. Hi, everybody. It's Edie, GameHounds podcast. Nick and I are all prepped. So, new interesting things about the stream. Actually, let's just start the stream so that we can get this taken care of, and then we can actually start. So, stand
Yeah.
by. Let's do the intro.
This podcast discusses video games, modern culture, and technology, and these podcasters are big fat potty mouths. If you're younger than 18 or are easily offended, please stop this podcast now. Oh, and your mom says to take out the trash and do your homework.
Hello and welcome to GameHounds. GameHounds episode 693. We are recording on Sunday, September 24th, 2023. I'm Edie Sellers. With me is Nick DiNicola. And I was just about to get into what my day has been like so far. So here's the thing. I have been to exactly in my life 2 family reunions, okay? The first one, 48 hours later, I was in the emergency room and being admitted for meningitis. The second one was yesterday. And I woke up this morning and my eye was glued shut. And I finally was able to soak through the goo to open up my eye. And I have pink eye.
Oof, that image that you paint.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to hear it.
Yeah, I woke up, it's like, why can't I open my eye? Oh, why can't I open my eye? Oh, and then I did, it was like, oh. So I went to the urgent care. I woke up early too, because I was feeling bad and my eye was kind of bothering me and kind of hurting. And it's like, you know what? I just need to go to bed. So I went to bed. Went to bed at like 11 o'clock. That's, anybody who's watched me game, that I don't start getting tired until 2 a.m. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go to bed. So I crashed and I woke up at 8 o'clock in the morning and it was like, oh. So from 8:15 on, I was trying to scurry up an appointment with urgent care and got into an urgent care appointment at 10 a.m. And it was like, she looked at me and she's like, oh, okay, we know what we're ordering for you, but let's just take a look at your eye. And she's like, well, I'm pretty sure it's pink eye, but it's kind of sort of weird. So let's just give you some antibiotics. So I've got my eye drops 4 times a day, and I can't go to work for the next week. I am no contact with any human for the next week.
Wow.
The week before I leave to go to Bali for a month.
I mean,
Fucking my
will
body.
you, in theory, be over this in a
Oh,
week?
yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good then. So it won't like
If
if
it's pink eye,
if
if it
everything
is
goes
what they
right,
think
it
it
won't
is,
affect.
all done. If it's not, then they're gonna wanna see me, and if it's not good in 3 days, they're gonna wanna see me in the ophthalmology department. And then I've gotta have to go through the whole ophthalmology thing to figure out what's going on with my eye, and I'm not sure that I want to go to the ophthalmology apartment because if they
Mm-mm.
find something wrong with my eye and say that I can't travel, I'm fucking traveling. I'm fucking traveling.
Mhm.
I do not want a doctor to turn around and say you can't travel. Nope. So I'm praying to God my eye gets better.
That's just pink eye.
I'm praying to God it's just pink eye and that the drops will do the thing. Whatever's going on, the drops will take care of it. Does it
I
delay the
can
Bali trip? No, I mean it could. We'll see. We'll know in a couple of days. I'm gonna tell her that my eye is all cured no matter what, because I'm not going to the ophthalmologist to have them say you can't travel. If you're a
I
disease vector doctor, that's true. If it doesn't clear up in 3 days after eye drops, then I'm not a vector. Then there's something else. It's actually something mechanical. Like something is in my eye. She checked my eye. She didn't see a scratch. She didn't see a foreign object. So if it doesn't, that's why she gave me the bottle and said, "Go home. Don't see anybody for 7 days. Even if it gets better in 3, don't see anybody in 7. But if it doesn't get better in 3, then they're going to send me to ophthalmologist to figure out what mechanical is going wrong." And if it's mechanical, I don't fucking care. I'll live with, an eye swollen shut every morning and just deal with it in November. But I'm not going. If I think I'm going to infect somebody, I won't. But it's not going to be something infectious because this will take care of infectious.
also I can still hear the music.
You can?
Yeah.
That's strange. Now you can't. Thank you for letting me know. Stupid. Well, I don't know why they put loop tracks as a default. That should be not a default. That should be the opposite of the default. The undefault. What is the opposite of of not default? Optional, I guess.
Yeah, optional.
Yeah. That should be the B, not the A of the AB. Oh, AC Ray says he's got no music, so that's good.
Hmm.
So, other than that, the family reunion was fine. So I got to turn you on to
So
something, Nick.
okay, wait. Where do you think you got it from?
It wouldn't have been yesterday. I honestly think, this is why I think it's mechanical and not pink eye. Yesterday, Friday, I left my normal driving glasses because I have, because of my vision, I have a series of glasses. This is my close by computer glasses. These are my medium television watching and gaming glasses. I have another set of glasses that are progressives that are like my long distance and short distance. And that's what I use to drive and to ride my scooter and everything else. I can with these, but the other ones are better.
Okay.
So, I got contacts
Mhm.
for, and I've been testing them out to see I know how they'll do in my eyes. I've worn contacts before. But I need to, since I didn't have my long distance glasses because I left them at work, I'm like, I'll just stick my contacts in. And as soon as I put my contacts in, they felt wrong.
Oh god. Did you like put in some sort of infected contact?
I don't think that no, I don't
Oh
think it's an
god.
infected contact because if it was infected contacts, it would be both my eyes.
Okay.
The left eye,
Oh.
particularly, just wouldn't settle right. So I'm thinking that maybe there was something weird about that one contact that
Oh my god.
might have there was something, either my eyes don't
Okay,
want
I don't
those contacts, don't like those contacts,
oh.
or what? Why are you
I
being
I
weirded out?
I don't need glasses. If I ever do need glasses, I will happily wear them. I will fucking die before I ever put contacts in my eyes.
Kevin's the same way.
I
I have no problem with it.
God. Oh, the idea of just like opening it and sticking my finger way in
You
there is
don't
like,
stick your
what?
finger in there.
What if you're sticking your finger there and then someone bumps you and you're just like, oh, there you go, you
That's
popped
how
your
I
eye.
feel about putting a Q-tip in my ear. Like, when a Q-tip goes in my ear, fucking nobody gets to stand around me. I am in a room, and I don't lock the doors in my house. When Kevin was living with me, I didn't lock the doors when I peed. I didn't even really close the doors when I went to the bathroom. But if I was touching my Q-tips, I would lock, because I have a Jack and Jill bathroom. I would lock both doors before I put a Q-tip in my ears for
You look
that
around,
reason.
you like uh widen your stance to get ready just in case there's an earthquake. You're like, okay, I've got the shock absorbers ready.
That's right. Unlike this, cleaning my ears, and you shouldn't put Q-tips in your ears anyway. But on those rare occasions that I do, but yeah, no, I have no problem putting a contact in.
Oh God.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing,
God.
is I remember putting it in and settling it, just right. And then I got in the car and it was like, why isn't this contact's bothering me? So I think it had something to do with the contact, because
Okay.
it wouldn't have started like instantly. But I put the contacts in, ran out the door. Within 15 minutes, I'm driving across the bridge and I'm like, oh, what's going on? Why can't I get this contact to sit right? And I'm,
And
kind of,
did you wear it all day?
I had to. I had no other glasses.
Pitters plus
Yeah, and that was the
bullshit
thing, as
sound.
I'm going over the bridge that's, like, 3 minutes from my house. I'm on the San Rafael Bridge, and I'm driving up to Santa Rosa, which is an hour away, and I'm 5 minutes into my trip, and I'm like, "I'm already late. I don't have any glasses. What can I possibly do? Is there anything that I can possibly do if these don't work?" And I'm like, "No, not really." So I just left them in all day, and I really struggled coming home. Like, coming home, I was like, "Oh my god, these hurt my eyes." Instantly ran home, took them both out, took them, threw away, put my glasses on, but by then it was like my left eye was really starting to like,
I
really
can
painful. So I think it was
that sounds like
orifice
something that
hands.
would cause it.
Yeah, and yeah, now I've got, like, goo building up in my
Oh,
eye, and, it's all bad. So
no, I don't
I
wanna
think
look.
it has to do it's not I don't think it's viral. I think it's something to do with,
Oh, fuck. AC Ray
uh,
brings up a scene from a movie where a lady gets a glass shard stuck in her eye. Oh, I remember. I think the classic eye horror is Dead Space 2. There's a scene where you have to you control the needle as it goes into your own eye.
oh. See, I never really had any weirdness about eyes. Kevin would you couldn't yeah, he was like that. Like, he wouldn't wear contacts because the thought of anything being near his eyes was like you. Like, no, nothing. I can't ever think about, like, touching my eyes. It's like,
Wait. He says I was aiming for the much more kind solar baby scene of a robot removing a shard from an eye, but that will do. What? Did a alien baby
hold on
get
a
a
second. I
glass
gotta go
shard
wipe my eye. My
stuck in
eye
their
is
eye?
weeping. I'll be right back. This is
Okay.
gross. I'll be right back.
I don't know the Solar Babies movie, but I don't know if I want to. And Chunderbox says, I went to the doctor to get my ears cleaned once. That was a fun experience. The amount of wax removed was astounding. No wonder I was going deaf. No Q-tips for me. Oh, do you hear better now? Like, did it actually improve your hearing, getting all the earwax popped out? That's one of the things. I recently got like a pair of wireless earbuds. And even before then, like, I listened to earbuds a lot, and part of me always wonders if, like, that's affecting some sort of earwax buildup. Like, I'm not sticking something in there, but, like, it's still basically a plug I'm putting over my ear. Chunderbox says, "Hell yeah." Well, I'm glad your hearing improved. That's good. Removing some earwax is better than going deaf. Like, if you gotta choose between the 2, I think you got the right one. But yeah, I don't know. I've never had problems with ears. Even sticking Q-tips in there a bunch as a kid, I ended up being okay. But eyes, I've always not liked eye stuff and nails. Like the nails on a chalkboard, like it really gets under my skin. And any scene in a horror movie where someone peels off their nail is just like, oh, I show me someone's head exploding. I will take an exploding head any day over a nail being peeled off. Oh,
Do you want to see what my eye look like? I'll give you like an up close and
no,
personal. You sure?
no,
You sure?
no, no.
You sure?
I'm just gonna do the podcast with my eyes closed.
Oh God, I could live without the gummy eyes. What did Chandra say? I went to the
Chenderbox also said,
doctor. I went to the doctor and get my ears cleaned, and that was a fun experience. The amount of wax removed was astounding. No wonder I was going deaf. No Q-tips for me. Yeah, no kidding. If you ever want to be sworn off of Q-tips, there's a number of YouTube channels of uh, ear, nose, and throats, essentially earwax specialists clearing out like impacted ears of people that have been using especially they mention a lot. It's Q-tips. People that have used Q-tips for years, and then they can't hear, and then they go in and they just see this impacted wad of black earwax, and then having to slowly chip away at it. It's actually quite. I find it quite
oh God, are you
soothing.
do you watch the pimple popper videos
Poppers.
too,
Oh
don't
yeah.
you?
Oh yeah.
God, that stuff
Oh
is
yeah.
disgusting. Chenderbox also says I often sleep with earplugs, so that's probably what caused it. And he did
Earplugs are
say
really bad.
and he did say once the wax got removed, his hearing significantly improved.
Oh yeah, I remember
So-
Kevin getting his ears cleared out, and it was like, holy shit, Kevin. And the guy's like, you use Q-tips, don't you? He's like, yeah. He goes, you need to stop. So I rarely use something for Q-tips around my ears. Rarely. Usually it's because my ears are itchy, not because I'm trying to clear anything. Anyway, can we talk
Yes.
about games?
Video games.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Nope. Fuck off, AC Wraith. I'm not letting
Oh
that.
yes,
Nope.
yes.
Nope.
The Huff GP is so satisfying. Holy crap, the Huff GP is the shit.
You people are
I
monsters.
love that stuff. Oh my God. Yeah, just crazy stuff. Well, I mean, dairy cattle, they're not really made to be on concrete. And so, just I've learned so much about cow's hooves.
No. I've seen like gifs and stuff on Reddit of someone like trimming a cow hoof and getting it ready for the horseshoe. That's neat because they're just
No, horse hoofs. Cows don't get.
okay, but like horse hooves, and so they're like cutting the hoof and getting it ready, and that's satisfying
Yeah,
because like
a farrier. Yeah.
there's no liquid. I don't want to see liquid. No, fuck you. Don't bring up a video. I am removing you from the stream. Hey, we're here to talk about some video games.
Oh, now I know. Put
Yeah.
this in the back of my mind for future use.
AC Ray says those cows are made to feel so much better. That's fine. Look,
It is. Oh my
look.
God.
Godspeed to you, the people doing that, and to the people that can watch it. I don't want to do that. That's not how I want to spend my day. You know how I
Heather
want to
says,
spend my day?
do you like watching bugs get pulled out? Pulled out of what? No, I mean actually.
Probably anything.
Oh God,
Any orifice.
bot flies. Oh, watching those get pulled out. Oh, I can't watch that.
Remember,
that goes.
we're now orifice hounds.
Orifice sounds like what? What orifice? You like watching things getting pulled out of. Another
Anyways.
one of my favorite things I like to watch
Jesus.
is
You know what I like to watch? I like to watch crime shows.
toes. People like cutting toes and ingrown toenails, removing ingrown toenails.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, so satisfying.
I don't want to see that.
Watching some really fucked up toes.
You know what? I do find interesting. I'll tell this short story.
Yeah, the Hoof GP does not need our attention. He's doing just fine, but the Hoof GP is awesome.
You know how? Do you remember Rachel dropped a knife on her foot like about a year ago?
Right.
And like when that happened, we went to the emergency room. She's okay now, and they put stitches in it, and like they just like inject a bit of numbing agent and then stitched it up. And like it was fine. So I was in the room and I'm watching them stitch it up. And as I'm watching it, I can kind of feel myself get a little weaker and I get a little dizzy. And the doctor looks at me, is like, "You look pretty pale. Do you want to sit down?" And so I just walked over to the room and sat down, just like so that instead of looking at the wound, it's like, oh, it's just the other side of the foot, so I can't see it. And it got all better. And I think there's I don't want to extrapolate too much, but as someone who watches a massive amount of violent media, the fact that I got dizzy looking at an actual real wound, I think that does a lot to disprove the idea of oh, what is it? Oh god, I can't say it.
Desensitization.
Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. I was not desensitized to actual blood.
Well, then, a really good way to get desensitized to actual blood is to go to the Hoof GP.
Oh Jesus Christ.
Why?
No, fuck off. No, we're done with that shit.
Oh, I'm enjoying this. I'm
Oh.
enjoying this.
What video games did you play? What did you play this week?
Starfield.
Yeah,
It's still
enjoying it?
I'm enjoying it. Pardon me. I'm enjoying it, but it's just I'm still not detecting a story there.
How
And
far are you in the main story?
I just went to the scow.
Okay, it's like I don't know much about the details. I just kind of know the general. I basically looked up, hey, what happens in the story, and what is this new game plus people keep talking about? And
Okay, so the only thing that I know is that I'm still picking up powers. I'm still picking up artifacts.
okay,
The artifact I most recently got was the one on the scow, which
okay,
is a collector's ship, and he has it, and they make it clear you're not going to be able to finagle it out of him. So you have to figure out how to get it from him. And
Well,
I tried a number of different ways because you have a lot of things that you can do. And I tried a number of different ways and enjoyed doing all of them. I kind of wanted to do it super stealth, and I realized you couldn't do it super stealth. Can you be a mage in Starfield? Pretty much you are a mage in Starfield. That's what the powers are. In fact, I frequently forget I have powers and have to remind myself to use them.
yeah. So, like maybe I don't know if you could be a mage and rely solely on the powers, especially considering how late in the game you get them. Well, how late in the early game you get them?
Right. Sorry,
You
eyes
just want
weeping
to
again.
put like an eye patch on?
I kind of do. I kind of just want to leave this nice, cool pad because all
Yeah.
it is cool water, but still, it
Mm.
feels nice to have a nice, cool pad on this very warm and unhappy eye. Yeah, and Bitter says I always play a mage in TES. Yeah, it's kind of like you don't really pick your class.
Yeah, you don't really have a class.
Sort of.
You
You can the skills affect your gameplay.
It's like, but that's like,
But
what guns do you want to use? Do you want to do pistols? Do you want to
Right.
do shotguns? Do you want to do laser weapons? And that's your class. Is
Do you
just
want to be a
what
thief?
gun
How
you're
much of a
using.
thief do you want to be? Yeah. But and then of course your powers, all of your powers you get. There's no like, oh, I picked this power, I don't pick this power. What does affect the quote unquote gameplay, sort of your character, is which guns you put into your favorite slots so that you can rotate them through them quickly, and what powers that you can put in your slots and rotate them quickly if you need to change them. You can still change by not going to the quick draw, the favorites folder, the favorites, but it's just like it makes it more seamless.
Yeah.
So I'm I'm still liking it. Uh, and I will say that one of the things I'm most disappointed in were there were there quote unquote romance options in previous Bethesda games?
Not that I remember. No, I don't think there were.
Yeah, Bethesda either needs to do them or not do them. They either need to go full BioWare or they just need to not do that.
I thought they did go full Bioware. I thought the whole point of a companion is that you could romance them.
You can. Here's the would you like me to put you through the big, like, penultimate romance scene?
Okay.
Okay. Ready? I'm gonna reenact it.
Okay.
You know, when we met, I really wasn't so sure about you, but after traveling with you, I realized I love you. That's it.
No. You
Oh,
don't
and
get
then
a.
repeatedly you can go back by them and say, "What do you think of our relationship?" And then they say something else wonderful to you.
Hmm. There's
And that's
no.
it.
This. You can't fucking alien bear.
There's no like cutscene, there's no nothing. The only
Hmm.
other benefit is that every time that you take a nap, they take a nap with you, and you get an extra 5% of XP bonus because and they'll occasionally say the thing that, "Ooh, that thing you did with your leg was amazing." That's about it. And of
Hmm.
course, you'll do that if you've been in the ships, you know that like there's no like walls. There's no bedroom
Oh
in
no,
your
no.
ship.
You're just putting on a show for all the rest of the crew.
Right, exactly. Or in the case of, Sam Coe, his kid,
Mm.
which is awkward.
Bitter
Um,
says in the last Fallout you could romance, and AC Wraith says you could get married in Skyrim.
right, and it's the equivalent of the "I'm sworn to carry your burdens."
Bitter
It's
says
like,
I could turn Curie human and hook up. I don't remember who Curie is.
who is Curie? And by hook up, did you actually hook up or did they just say, "Hey, we hooked up.
I'm sure.
Ta-da!
I'm sure it's
You're
just.
you're hooked up, extra 5
I'm
XP."
sure it's just saying you're hooked up, right? But
Yeah.
that's not going to make a sex scene.
But BioWare, when you romanced, you knew you got romanced. It
Oh
was it
yeah.
was a thing. It was the writing on that, and then like it was just like, oh, it really knew how to like pay off. And there's none of that, which is kind of a bummer.
Mm.
So I'm hooked up with Sam Coe and doing it in front of his kid on the regular.
Okay. Good. Hey, look, she's got to learn sometime.
She doesn't seem bothered by it. You could yeah, that's what it is. You could sleep in the same bed for a bonus stat. That's essentially all this is you sleep in the same bed for a bonus stat.
Okay.
Curie. Who is Curie in Fallout? You want to look that up? I don't
Like,
remember. But
is that like Madame Curie?
Madame Curie, I mean.
Oh, oh, yeah, yeah.
No, I think that's also spelled differently.
Oh, yeah. It's a robot that stands for Contagious Vulnerability Robotic Infirmary Engineer. So
Oh,
basically, he pulled an Edie,
yeah.
turned the robot human.
Yep. So, yes, Starfield, I mean, it's a game at this point. It's a game.
Yeah, from what I
It has no emotional or even like, like story-wise, it's nothing so far very compelling about it. And I keep going back to it mostly because it's entertaining enough and I'm far enough into it. I'm kind of like, well, am I right? Does it really not get any better?
I mean, I don't think that's necessarily a bad place for game to land. Has something that's just, you know, something fun to do in an evening,
I don't
right?
know if it'd be
It's
fun. It's
the
just
it's
you're
the
doing
equivalent
it.
of like CSI or NCIS, right? It's the equivalent of these uh procedural shows that last 16 seasons. The comfort food, right? It's a
Mhm.
comfort food at this point. And I don't think that's a bad place for a game to land. Um,
Yeah,
I yeah,
I know that that this is not this is I I would feel a lot more upset if I didn't know that there was Baldur's Gate waiting for me.
mm,
And I can't touch Baldur's Gate right now. 'Cause
I,
I'm a week
I
and a half from getting on a plane to Bali, and I
yeah,
need to, like I've got shit to do, and I know that the minute I touch Baldur's Gate, it's gonna be over for me.
I'm finally going to play it probably sometime this week because I finished watching Gangs of London, which turns out is actually it it's lightly based on a video game.
Mhm.
I guess the director was approached to make a film adaptation of. Do you remember the series The Getaway? It's like a London crime game that was in the
Yes!
PS2 era.
Yes!
I guess The Getaway 3 was called Gangs of London. And he was approached to make a
Oh.
film version of that, but then realized, like, you know what? It's actually really fun exploring all these different gangs. We should make this a TV show. And
Yeah.
reading about the game, like the complete, other than the name, completely different.
Hmm.
But it's kind of funny to learn of that connection. Oh yeah, Bitter says that that's kind of how he feels about Bethesda games. It's comfort food. You kind of zone out and do stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Um,
I
yeah.
was hoping for more. Like Skyrim, I really felt like, like, I wanna see what happens next. I wanna go somewhere. Oh my god, this is amazing. Not getting that from this. This is not Skyrim.
Yeah.
Like, even Elder Scrolls had a really interesting the story in Elder Scrolls Online is more compelling than the story in Starfield so far. The story in
Mm.
Starfield is got no story. There's nothing other than artifacts, guys who don't want you to have artifacts and powers. And nobody seems to be like, I don't know, it's just so fucking beige right now.
And yeah, that's why when I stopped playing it, it was
Mhm.
mainly because I wanted to play other stuff.
Yeah.
But it's there in the back, and I know, hey, if I go to it without without thinking about Baldur's Gate and Armored Core and Gangs of London, I'll enjoy it more.
Mhm.
When it doesn't feel like I'm playing it as opposed to something else, I think I'll
Mhm.
enjoy it a lot more.
Right.
But yeah, I finished Armored Core for the second time, got the second ending. It's kind of surprising how fast that game goes in New Game Plus because you get so many really powerful ship parts for your mech, and you just kind of know where to go. So there's a lot of, hey, I'm just gonna boost over to the objective, kill this mech, and the mission's over. And it moves a lot faster. But in the end game, like choosing a different decision and getting to see the the I can see what you're doing. I'm trying to figure out how to not let you do it. I'm ready to take that window off. Um, but one thing I've noticed in the end, when you make a different decision to like change the ending, you get into a lot of hard fights. And what I'm still surprised about in that game is how I'll get into a boss fight and I'll just get my ass handed to me and it will
Mhm.
feel impossible. But then I go back and I change my loadout a little bit, and then I do the fight, and all of a sudden, it's way easier. Like the loadouts matter so much in that game, and it's actually a really cool way to handle difficulty in a game, right? Because it's not just get good.
Right.
It's kind of this puzzle aspect of, okay, these guys kept stun locking me. So I'm gonna rebuild my mech in a way that makes me harder to stun lock, and all of a sudden I'm more maneuverable, and it
Right.
feels cool. And that's all I did this week.
That's good. All right. So, yeah, might as well hit the news. There's a lot of news to
Th-
talk about. Holy
There's a big
buckets.
news. Yeah.
Yeah. So, rather than spend a bunch of time talking about bunch of games that we've talked about a million times before,
Mm-hmm.
let me get to it. Wait for it. Oh, I wish they wouldn't put this all the way down to the back, or let me adjust it so I could put things where I want it to be. Let's hit the news. Gaming with Gamer 80, Nick DiNicola. First item is, what do you want to talk about? Because there's two really huge stories.
The Xbox leak is far and away the biggest one, I think.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Unity thing was huge last week, and it got kind of sorted out. But man, the Xbox leak, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. And AC Wraith, no, I didn't play anything beyond Armored Core 6.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Xbox leak. So
yeah,
I guess this comes from documents that were uploaded as part of, again, the fucking FTC investigation of
oh man, it's just
Microsoft
a gift that keeps
Activision
on
Blizzard.
giving, isn't it?
So, and for a brief moment in the beginning, it was unclear what happened here. But very quickly, one of the FTC lawyers or the head of the FTC tweeted out this was not our fault. We did not do this.
What was the hold on a second, where's the quote? I have to look for it because I have to go scroll through all the this was leaked and this was leaked and this was leaked. They said Douglas Farrer, director of the FTC's Office of Public Affairs, the quote, the FTC was not responsible for uploading Microsoft's plans for its games and consoles to the court website. It wasn't us. But somebody uploaded
yeah. Well, I guess
a
what
bunch of
happened
documents to the court's website. They're since gone down, but it's, the damage was done.
Yeah, what happened was Microsoft was supposed to upload a bunch of stuff to a secure server. And so they basically gave the courts the link and said, "Here's a link to a secure location." The court published that link because it was supposed to be secure. Turns out it wasn't.
No. So, bottom line, ton of leaks. All right. So, which leak do you want to talk about first?
It's hard because, on one hand, this is the big news of the week and it's big news. But on the other hand, when you actually look into what all the stuff is, it's oh, yeah, that makes sense.
You mean that makes sense that
okay.
Microsoft wants to buy Nintendo?
See, I don't think they want to buy Nintendo. That was more spitballing ideas of, hey, who could we do this? And of course, and Phil Spencer was like, hey, buying Nintendo would be a career defining moment. Yeah, no shit it would be. And for a publisher and a studio like Xbox that has traditionally struggled in Japan to buy the biggest Japanese publisher,
Mhm.
well, yeah, no shit. No, I'm sure everyone's like, hey, could we buy Nintendo? I'm sure that's a thing that gets thrown around a bunch of
Well, they've been
CEO
throwing that
offices.
around for 20 years. I mean, that was a big thing back in 2021. It was kind of, I don't say announced, but we found out that Microsoft had reached out to Nintendo's back in 2001 to potentially inquire about potentially buying Nintendo. But yeah, this an email was leaked from Phil Spencer to Microsoft Chief Marketing Officer Chris Capicella, and also Executive Vice President and Commercial Chief Marketing Officer Takeshi Numoto. And Phil Spencer wrote, quote, Nintendo is the capital T, capital H, capital E. Nintendo is the prime asset for us in gaming, and today gaming is our most likely path to consumer relevance. I've had numerous conversations with the LT.
I had leadership team. I saw people speculating.
What was it?
Leadership team
of Nintendo about tighter collaboration, and I feel like if any US company would have a chance with Nintendo, we are probably in the best position.
And that makes sense. It's this. The idea is, look, Nintendo's not going to sell, but
But if they
would,
do sell,
but if
we're
they were, I
we're in the
think
right place
we're
for it.
in a good position to be the one. And it's
Yeah,
like, yeah, that makes sense. This wasn't Microsoft going out and trying to aggressively buy them. It was more like, hey, let's work together and let's be friends so that if they ever want to sell,
right.
we're at the top of that
Keep them
list.
friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels less like Mr. Burns kind of corporate evil planning, like,
It's
world
not less the
domination planning.
Saudis making a deal and then pulling out at the last
Yeah,
minute so they
yeah.
crash Embracer.
And more just some guy, spitballing fantasies.
Right. Like, "Yay, I don't think it's gonna happen, but if it does,
Yeah. But also, I
we're in
don't
the
think
right
it'll
spot to
happen
take
because
advantage of it."
I don't think Microsoft would know what to do with Nintendo.
I think Microsoft would figure out what to do with Nintendo, but it would buy Nintendo first and ask questions later.
Oh, I believe that, but I don't think they would know what to do with it.
I think they probably have some contingency plans already set up. I mean, if they're at the point where they realize that that's really their prime, the golden ring, I can guarantee you there is somewhere that they've got some kind of idea that if Nintendo
Oh, yeah.
came to us by one way or another, here's what we might wanna do.
I
We've got
think there was somewhere in the email, and I don't have a link to it, but somewhere Phil Spencer was saying that, yeah, if Nintendo or Valve wanted to sell, the leadership team at Microsoft is behind those decisions. Like,
right,
hey, we've already talked like about the potential; they would be behind us.
right.
And Bitters Plus says, I honestly wish Microsoft would buy Sega. I'd stand behind that.
Yeah,
Which
I
is
could see that.
interesting because there's already a lot of Sega games coming out on Game Pass.
Mhm. Yeah. So let's see, the next big, thing that was announced that was leaked was remember when Phil Spencer said that, Elder Scrolls, what was it? Not before, like,
The
it would be at least 6 years, which would put it at 2029?
Something like that, I think. Or maybe that was um Bethesda leader Todd Howard.
Todd Howard. Yeah, well, apparently, there was a leak of a graphic that essentially was a gold mine for this. It includes information on a bunch of other games, but one of the other things that it added was this graphic that shows potential release dates, with Elder Scrolls potential release date being um, to be confirmed, but expected 2026 or later, which is
Or later.
3 years, right, or later. I'm not saying that 2029 isn't possible based
Mhm.
on what this is, but that Xbox is actually shortening that window to 3 years or longer as opposed to
Or
6 years or longer.
or they were 3 years ago, right? All the leak of all these documents these are old documents that we're
That's true,
getting our hands on.
2018.
Um, I could totally believe 3 years ago they thought Elder Scrolls would come out in 6 years. I think we thought 3 years ago that Elder Scrolls 6 would come out in 6 years. Um, but obviously that's not the case.
Right. And, another interesting thing that was on this is the, final column or the final row here, Microsoft's statement on exclusivity about these games.
Mm. Yeah,
About like, "Okay, here's what we're gonna say when they ask why is it exclusive?"
yeah, I think because previously when asked about this, Phil Spencer was like, "We decide these things on a case by case basis."
Right. And, this thing's pretty much is dead on, right on. I mean, the Starfield is
What
on
is it?
here,
What does it say about exclusivity? I can't read the screen.
about exclusivity of Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah, what's Microsoft's statement?
In order to be on Xbox, I want us to be able to bring the full, complete package of what we have, and that would be true when I think about Elder Scrolls 6.
Now, what does that even mean?
Blah de blah de blah. It's words that you can print. That's what that means.
Yeah.
Um, And let's see, Microsoft's statement on exclusivity of Starfield and Redfall. One of the things that has me most excited is seeing the roadmap with Bethesda, and this is in bold, Bethesda's future games, some announced and many unannounced, to Xbox console and PC, including Starfield. That was bolded. The highly anticipated new space epic currently in development at Bethesda Game Studios. So anyway, yeah, these are all this was one of the things that was part of the leak. In addition, let's see what else was leaked. Fallout 3 remaster, Ghostwire Tokyo sequel, Dishonored 3, and Doom Year Zero are also part of a thing.
I would totally believe all those. I also
Yep.
saw that
I
Oblivion
mean, I would
remaster.
believe everything that we're reading here because these are leaked documents that they submitted to the court. They kind of
Well,
sort of have to be true.
But like I said, they're older documents. And so
True.
like in the last one when it said, "Oh yeah, Elder Scrolls could be out 2026," but then during the FTC hearing, Phil Spencer said it would be out in 5 years. I believe him at the FTC hearings is probably
True.
the more up-to-date version of this.
True.
But yeah, I'm surprised that Ghostwire Tokyo would be getting a sequel. I didn't know if the game did that well. Surprised Dishonored is getting a sequel just
I'm
because
thrilled that Dishonored is getting a
I'm
sequel.
thrilled, but like they kind of took a break from that for so long.
Yeah.
Um, and hey, Fallout 3 remaster. I saw things about an Oblivion remaster too. I would totally get behind those.
Yep, absolutely. Let's see another thing. Let's see what some people are saying. Genderbox says, "Woohoo! Release day pick for ES6. Open that wallet, Edie." Yeah, you're on track.
We'll see.
We'll see. We'll
Check
see.
back in 3 years.
Yeah, CV3. Let's see. What did you say? See Game Pass? Oh, Game Pass on new Switch would be in the cards, I reckon, so that they would have a handheld console, maybe. Yeah, that would be
interesting.
Would be very interesting. So let's see another leak out of this big trove of just nothing but pure gold. Xbox is actively working on a new controller called is it Sebille?
That's what it looks like it would be pronounced, Sebille.
Yeah. So they actually had a actual photo of this thing. And I am bringing it up right now.
Which is kind of a really bad photo because it's on a dark background and the controller itself is like half tone, like the top half is white and the bottom half is black.
Right.
But when you put that against the black background, all of a sudden it's like, wait, where's the bottom of the controller? It looks really awkward.
Yeah, it is awkward. So anyway, the Sebille is the thing that's interesting about it is that it's going to have haptic feedback like the PlayStation,
like the DualSense, which is really cool because a lot of that haptic stuff is awesome. And if Microsoft supports it, then we'll get more games with it, and that's just a win for everybody. That's cool.
Yeah. Also including a speaker. I forget what they call that, like a haptic. What was it? Hold on a second. Let me get. They've got an actual word for it. VCA haptics, which would be the little speakers on the controller, and also an accelerometer. So essentially, it would be a DualSense Xbox controller
for the Xbox. Which, hey, that seems cool. I think the DualSense controller has a lot of awesome features that have been unutilized in games other than Sony first party stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So to get it in more third party games it's just awesome all around.
I think if we're looking at the best news out of this, the one that makes me most excited is this controller.
Yeah, everything
this
about this
also
controller
could have cost me $120, but I'm still excited.
Everything about this controller and even all the stuff we haven't talked about yet seems really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I know one of the cool things they mentioned is it would have a like lift to wake feature so that if you pick up the Xbox controller, that turns on the console.
Yeah, this here, that little lift to wake where it says on the lower right-hand corner.
That's a really cool feature. And what's also really cool potentially is there in the top left, it says ubiquity, play anywhere. And it's the idea that this controller wouldn't just connect to the console. It wouldn't just connect to a computer. It would connect to the cloud, which would mean you could use this controller to like play things on your phone, then play things on your computer, then play things on your Xbox, and that it would be able to basically be a universal controller.
Mm-hmm.
And to have that built into the controller itself,
Mm-hmm.
that's such an impressive, if granted, as long as it works, like the saying, as long as it works in theory, it would be like a universal controller.
If I could use my Xbox controller seamlessly with my PC, I would be playing Xbox controller on my PC all
I
the
mean,
time. The biggest problem with it's like, you know, I have to do all of this, and I have to download software, and I have to buy another controller because my actual controller I like to use I can't use. I have to buy a knockoff like controller so I can use it with my PC. And if I had an Xbox controller that I could use with my PC, and then if I want to play with it on my Xbox, I could play with it on my Xbox, I would be thrilled. I'm surprised they haven't done that yet. That's
I
just
think
almost
you,
a no-brainer to me.
I think you can use the Xbox controller on the PC now.
Can you?
Yeah,
I've never tried, but
I think it's pretty usable.
I think that maybe I don't know. I will reserve that. But if you can, they have not made that a big enough deal so that I know that.
Yeah. ACUA says swappable and rechargeable battery. They heard Nick and I argue.
Yeah.
I agree. Don't God, I fucking hate batteries. That thing that thing chewed through batteries like a hot knife through butter.
I love the batteries. Well, the fact if you could have a swappable rechargeable, absolutely.
And that's what I have now in it.
That's what the 360 controller was. You had a
Yeah,
swappable rechargeable battery.
but I never used that. I just had the plug and play kit so that uh basically it had a rechargeable battery inside it. You
Mhm.
could plug something into the controller to charge the battery,
Right.
and then you could unplug it to play wirelessly.
Right.
And that's what the PlayStation controller has, where you just plug it in to charge the battery and then you unplug it when it's charged. You
Right.
don't
And
need actual batteries inside it.
I love the fact that I had the 360 with 2 batteries and a charging dock, and I had 1 battery always charging and 1 battery in the controller, and if my controller battery was dying, I could pop one out, pop the other one in, stick the other one in for charging, and be going, and I've had to do that a number of times mid-game, and it was
Mhm.
wonderful. Oh, Bitter says I always use my Xbox controllers on my PC. Well, then I stand corrected. I will have to go play around with that because that's one of the things that keeps me from playing a lot of PC gaming is that AS AWSD controls. I mean, I could do them, but I
Oh, yeah,
hate
no.
doing them.
No, yeah, AC
Um,
Wraith even said earlier that the Xbox 360 controller is the default PC controller.
oh, the Xbox 360 controller. Oh, okay.
It is, but
Good to know.
I think the Xbox Series controller, like, you can just wirelessly connect it to Windows.
All right, I will double check that.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. You've been able to, and then the Xbox 360, but you needed a dongle for the PC. Yeah, exactly. And I don't have to deal with a dongle.
I think you
Fuck
need
the
a
dongle.
dongle for the Xbox One controller, but I've used the Series controller on my PC.
Mhm. And I think the thing that kept me from even thinking about it is because back in 360 days, the only computer I had was a Mac.
Oh, a Mac. Yeah, that you would run into problems with.
Yeah, that I run and I've only, PC gaming for what? Less than a year. So,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, other than the machine I made for World of Warcraft, which was a whole different like, I never played anything. Once you play World of Warcraft, that's all you're playing
Mhm.
for a really long time. Um, so let's see, what else was announced? The next item that we found out about was also another, refresh of the actual Xbox itself called the Brooklyn.
And this one feels a lot more controversial than the controller.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yes, the Brooklyn, would be hold on a second. I have scrolled down my thing. Um, So let's see if I can pull this up. Yeah, the Brooklyn. Let me go to my notes because I got everything all screwed up now because I was looking at other stuff. So the Xbox refresh called Brooklyn. It is a console that doesn't actually upgrade anything power-wise, but what it will have is 2 terabytes of built-in storage, hard drive, and a more eco-friendly design, which
Yeah,
is, not unimportant.
it looks like a trash can. It's a cylinder that stands upright.
Yeah, and, a Wi-Fi, 6E Wi-Fi, which is good, great. I'm actually bummed about that, but what it doesn't have is a disk drive.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that Microsoft seems to be making the big jump completely away from disks.
And
Like,
like,
they're recognizing that disks are
and
in their death throes.
and in theory, you would still be able to buy the original Xbox Series X console that does
Mhm.
have a disk drive. This would just be a refresh version.
Right,
So they wouldn't discontinue the other version, but they also wouldn't be emphasizing on it. And
right.
what we saw in the leaked documents is that I think they said 75% of Xboxes sold were Xbox Series S's, which
Mhm.
are only digital. So
Right.
I can totally see from Microsoft's point of view to justify making this jump.
Right.
But it
Exactly.
also feels like, hey, the last time you tried to do this was the Xbox One,
Mhm.
and you kind of fucked yourself over for an entire generation that you're still trying to claw your
Right.
way back to.
Right.
Do you really want to do this?
Yeah, this is a bit of a risk. And here it is. So yeah, the Brooklyn. 4K Gen 9 console gaming with more internal storage, faster Wi-Fi, reduced power, more immersive controller, and a beautiful redesign that elevates all digital experience of the Xbox ecosystem. Um, I mean, it's probably going to be shipped, obviously, with the Sybil.
Mhm.
And the fact that it uses 15% less power is actually a really, really, really good thing because these things are expensive to run. They are not cheap, especially the way the power costs are going.
They are, but I also don't know how much of that is like a real selling point in terms of features. It
No, but
it
not for
really
most people, but for me, it would be. Like
true, but
15% reduced power when you're actually using it. 20%, that's a huge amount. 20% less power when it's on standby. That's how my Xbox kind of lives a lot of its life. So if I could reduce my cost 20% of this machine, it almost makes it worthwhile to purchase it. It pays for itself after a short time.
I mean, you know what you could also do? You could just turn it off because these consoles boot up pretty fast, and
Yeah,
with the
that's what I
quick
do.
resume,
That's what
y-
I do.
you don't need like who puts it in standby? Who
Mhm.
who puts these consoles in standby? It's a neat feature. I do it. I'll do it for a night. Like I'll put my PlayStation in rust mode for a night if I want to download an update and it's
Mhm.
I'm going to bed. But for the most part, I turn it off and then I turn it on. Um,
The other thing that was interesting in this is the price. It did mention a price of $499.
I mean, at that point, yeah, they say refresh, and it's not a slim version, right? We're kind
Mm-mm.
of used to the mid console version
Right.
being either a slim version that's cheaper, or like the PS4 Pro, where it's a slightly updated version. But this is
Mhm.
just, hey, here's a slightly different version of the console that's the same price, and it doesn't have a disk drive, which again
Bitters.
feels like you're losing features.
Yeah. Well, you are. You're losing features. You're definitely losing features. You're
Mhm.
definitely losing a disk drive, at least. Now you're getting all this increased performance and reduced power costs and,
Well, you're not getting
sustainability.
increased performance.
Well, you're getting it increased. performance by way of your Wi-Fi being faster.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of really the best thing that it would, when you say performance, it's not the actual processor performance, it's the actual Wi-Fi performance.
Yeah.
Um, and then of course reduction of cost, but then yeah, you're definitely giving up a lot because I see also it says USB front port with power delivery. Are there any back ports? Because I don't know about you, but I like having USB ports.
Oh, I'm sure there have to be.
And it's USB-C, not USB-A.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, there's not a USB. So I don't know if there's USB in the A's in the back maybe, but I like having that extra powered USB in the front. I use it for more than just Xbox, put it that way.
Well, okay, here's the thing. I use the USB-A outlet on the front of the Xbox had to charge the rechargeable batteries that I need.
Right.
The PlayStation only
I
has
use it to charge my camera. I use it to charge my
Oh,
headset.
okay.
I use it to charge a lot of things because it's really convenient. It's just sitting right there at eye level, and it's like, bam. I
So
run my USB Lite at my Mac
yeah,
when I do the show. I run it off the Xbox because it's
really?
right next to it. So it's like
Hmm.
free port. Why not? It's a really useful port for me, and it's USB-C, which means that it wouldn't be a useful port to me because
Yeah,
everything else I have is USB-A.
gotta get a dongle.
Yeah, fuck dongles. I really hate dongles. Um, and AC Ray says, shouldn't we have moved past disk anyway with USB-C ports allowing solid state options? Yeah, true.
I mean, that's the argument, right? Is all we past discs? And the thing is, I
Nick's
don't
not
buy
past disk.
I don't buy a lot of discs. I
When
really
you
don't.
do.
Um, I get them as gifts sometimes, but what
Mhm.
I more do is I want the option to have it. I want the
Right,
option to be able to play discs, and I want to play Blu-rays. My
right,
PlayStation, and like, because I use it the most, but like, they're movie players. That's what I use them mostly for. Because honestly, the quality from a Blu-ray is significantly better than anything you'll get on streaming.
right,
Even if your service claims they're streaming you a 4K movie, they're not. They're downgrading that shit. If you want to actually watch a 4K movie, you need to watch it on a Blu-ray disc.
right.
And that's mostly what I use it for. Um, but like, what's really interesting too is, and I don't know if you got this, but there's a whole email thing of Phil Spencer talking about the challenges facing AAA developers.
Mhm.
And oh, let me see if I can get it. It's worth like reading in detail what he
I
says.
think I
Ah,
remember that. Something about streaming is because they didn't jump onto
yes.
streaming fast enough.
So one of the
And
things he
that's
was
what killed
saying,
them is that they created this gaping wide hole in the market that was
yeah.
jumped in by third-party developers, or third-party, you know, I guess it'd be
So
developer, like Valve.
before digital distribution was a thing, AAA publishers could use the power of like marketing to get their game on shelves
Right,
and use that to kind of force popularity of something,
right.
right? Because my game is in front of you, so that's what you're going to play. When digital distribution arose, and all of a sudden you had smaller developers able to kind of put themselves on the digital
On the same
storefront, on the
bar,
shelf
right.
right next to these AAA developers, suddenly they couldn't use the distribution platform as a means to elevate their game anymore. So what they turned to is money. You know, an indie dev is not going to be able to spend $200 million on a video game.
Right.
And so all these publishers are kind of doubling down on spending a lot of money on these games to make something that truly feels blockbuster and to use the scale of investment to differentiate themselves. The problem is that that's fucking expensive.
Right.
And in a lot of cases, they have trouble recouping those losses. Spencer even goes on to say that, like, That's why you see them latching on to existing IP. Oh shit, where is it? He has a whole list of stuff.
Wait a minute, hold on a second. I just noticed something. Did you see this? On this launch timeline? I just read this at the very
What?
bottom. 60-day separation between launches enable dialogue with different audiences, allows us to focus on improvements on Seville, tell stories beyond console, adds value to Brooklyn and Elwood and announce, gives Elwood its own moment earlier in the holiday timeframe and maximizes sales. Last Chance Edith, 512 gigabytes at $199. What is Last Chance Edith? Because that's my name.
Edith, maybe Edith is the code name for the Xbox Series S.
No. Maybe. How did I not know that the Xbox Series X code name is Edith?
Oh no, Xbox Series S was named Project Lockhart.
Yeah, no, I would have remembered any project name was Edith. Last Chance Edith. 512 gigabytes at $199 as Black Friday offer before end of life.
Because they mention end of life, and so I imagine that must be
Something in the past it was
that
Edith.
must be an existing console that they would then phase out. Right? Because they're
What
talking about
console is Edith? Xbox console Edith. Only thing I'm pulling up is What Remains of Edith Finch. Xbox console.
Doom. Oh, okay. I'm getting this from a
Codename
forum.
Edith. Here we go. Microsoft expects to
Edith
the
is
current Edith is the Series S.
Edith is Series S, Stockville is Series X. And so
How
basically
did I not know that the S was an Edith?
so yeah, it looks
Oh
like
man,
they
now I have
would
to buy one.
they would
Shit.
phase out the Series S for $200 on Black Friday offer before end of life. And then
That Black
and then
Friday
no, but
would
then they
be
say they say Starkville. So that's the Xbox Series X. They say Xbox Series X end of life ahead of Brooklyn launch. So actually, let me retract what I said before. When they would launch Brooklyn, the diskless Xbox, that would replace the current Xbox Series X. So
yes.
this timeline shows Microsoft going full digital distribution only.
Yes. Yes.
So they're not hedging their bets. It's just flat out whole. And actually based on this timeline, it looks like even the Series S would be end of life by this point. And so the only console they would have is Brooklyn.
So Elwood is the X.
No, Starkville is the X.
So what's Elwood?
I don't know Elwood.
It looks like
Gives
that's a
Elwood its
1
own
terabyte. Like
moment
Brooklyn is a 2
of
terabyte and Elwood is a 1
sales.
terabyte.
Oh, maybe that could be additional storage options announced available. That could be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what Elwood is.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking is that Elwood is the 1 terabyte version. Brooklyn is a 2 terabyte version.
I could see that. That is basically the same console with
And
different
they're
hard
going to
drive sizes.
announce the mid-gen console Elwood and Brooklyn announced simultaneously. Sybil's going to be announced in the fourth quarter of 2024, and then they're going to launch Sybil.
Yeah, so looking at this timeline, they would launch the controller in like mid fiscal year 24.
Mm-hmm.
And so the controller would be out and you would be able to buy it. And then 6 months later in
And they're
fiscal year
announcing it
25.
in fiscal year 2024. I think that they meant fiscal year 2020. Oh, Q4 of 2024. So would this be
No, they're launching the controller first, and then 6 months later they're going to launch the new consoles which would probably have those new controllers. But they
Right.
want to launch the new controller first in order to like give it some time on its own to shine. Like,
Right.
hey, look at our new controller.
Right. And then they would announce shortly after the controller that there was the mid-gen Elwood and Brooklyn coming out to replace Edith and what was the other one?
Stockwood.
Starkwood.
Yes.
And then so they would be blowing out on Black Friday the Ediths. So that would be in November. They would be blowing out the last of the Ediths in November 2025.
And Stockwood.
And Starkville's end of
It-
life ahead of the Brooklyn launch. So that would be,
August or so.
yeah, I guess so. So they would end. So they're going to be ending Starkville before they end
Yeah, because in the
Edith.
last point it says Brooklyn arrives just in time for the gifting season, but separate from Elwood.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Okay. Well, I'm going to be buying myself an Edith because all of us Ediths have to stick together.
Oh God.
What? We don't get a lot, not a lot of things named Edith these days. So
It's
we
not like
stick to each
it's not
other.
like the console is gonna have the word Edith
No, but
imprinted on
I'm
it.
gonna know in my heart that it's Edith, like Edie in Mass Effect.
Yeah.
It's just
A-
an Edith by another name.
Anyways, so wait, knowing this is actually really good context because I'm
Yeah.
going to circle back around to what I was saying
Okay.
about AAA developers having a hard time being relevant because they're investing so much money. And he even says that you see developers basically retreat to existing big IP. EA with Star Wars and Jedi Survivor, Spider-Man with Sony, Avatar with Ubisoft. Like they're investing in these existing IP. What Phil Spencer is saying here is that it's not profitable for them to do this. But he sees the answer as Game Pass. Hey, look, bring your game to Game Pass and like I don't quite understand his logic here because, digital distribution, Game Pass, a AAA game on Game Pass is existing alongside the smallest indie game on Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't, in theory, it doesn't really seem at first to like fix the problem that they're talking about. I'm trying to get his exact words. He says, yeah, AAA publishers are milking their top franchises, but struggling to refill their portfolio of hit franchises. Most AAA publishers are riding the success of franchises created 10 plus years ago.
Right.
And he says, okay, our goal is to find a way to both grow our subscription, which is our new platform, Game Pass, and
Mhm.
help the AAA publishers build towards a successful future. For publishers with 2 to 3 scale franchises, that's a difficult transition. Again, taking a cue from Hollywood, it's not clear how a standalone subscale media publisher grows in this world without adapting to new paradigms or getting consolidated. Blah blah blah. Hey, it's hard out here for a AAA publisher,
We're
but
having such a hard time.
we believe we can help a Take-Two by increasing monetizable across more endpoints inside of a global platform like Xbox Game Pass. It basically sounds like he's saying, hey, we know it's hard out here for a AAA publisher, but if you put your game on Game Pass, you can add more microtransactions and reach a wider audience.
Right.
And like that's his selling point. And I
It's
imagine
not a bad selling point.
for the the John Riccatellos of the world, yeah, that is a selling point.
Exactly.
But for us
Yeah,
to
it's
see
not for
him
us.
say that, like, hey, you can add more microtransactions on a game on Game Pass and make more profit. Also, we're going to get rid of discs so that everything's digital distribution only. So, why not do Game Pass?
Right.
Like, it really, really sounds like this sales pitch is kind of a a fucking over of the gamers.
It is.
For Mr. No man, we just want more games, more places. We want to make it easier for you to play games that are just filled
And
with microtransactions.
spend your money on each of those games.
Well, hey, look, man, Game Pass, just monetize your game like it's a phone game.
Right.
And everybody wins, right? People love phone games.
People love monetizations. They get to play their game their way. Do
Yeah.
they want to buy or do they not?
And this Kotaku article is interesting because it comments that it's a pretty grim assessment and probably part of the reason Sony has repeatedly said that bringing its first-party exclusive games to its competing PS Plus service day and date would cripple the economics of blockbuster production. I think he's right. Like, you can't make those big budget single player adventures on a Game Pass subscription model because people play it for a week and then drop it and then unsubscribe. Game Pass needs microtransaction. Game Pass needs live service games. Yeah, and so that was an email he wrote 3 years ago trying to summarize the current state of the industry to his bosses. And what's interesting is seeing the way that's played out since those 3 years has increasingly been accurate. He's right. But does that mean publishers are going to flock to Game Pass to fill it with monetized, microtransactions? And if they do,
Mm-hmm.
what does that mean for the smaller games on there?
Right.
So yeah, basically, which is all to say, Xbox is really going in on the digital monetization scheme that seems kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like this. I don't know if I like this game pacification of the industry.
Hey, you were the one that thought Game Pass was such a great idea. You won't play anything unless it's on Game Pass.
No, if anything, I'm the opposite. I've been wary of Game Pass, especially with the consolidation, because look at Hollywood. Look at what streaming and subscription services did to Hollywood. I see Microsoft going, that's the model we want to follow.
Yeah.
We want to be the Netflix of games. Never mind the fact that Netflix fucked up Hollywood.
Mm-hmm. Just ask the people on strike.
Uh-huh. All these movie studios try to be Netflix and they completely fuck their business model.
Yeah.
So we'll
Let's see.
see. At
What
this
else?
point, yeah, there's a lot more to it.
Oh God, yes. I mean, we're not even
but-
close to being done with all of the
Yeah, but
announcements.
it's interesting to see his analysis of AAA gaming and basically saying, hey, Game Pass is the cure. By the way, we're getting rid of discs. So even if you wanted to use the production of retail to get your game in front of people like you used to,
Mm-hmm.
we're taking away that option.
Yeah.
So he's like, they used to be able to use retail. We're going to take away that option. By the way, you know what's a good option? Game Pass, which, by the way, we're selling you.
Uh-huh.
It's like
Look, if you
that part
nobody anytime
that part
that
actually feels
Phil
a bit
said,
Mr. Bernie world domination scheming.
you never actually believed that Phil Spencer was all about making gamers happy. Right?
Oh no,
Because
no.
he wouldn't have a job if that was the case.
Mhm.
He's there first and foremost to make money and to beat out everybody else and to essentially dominate the market. That's his job first and foremost. Now, that being said, that's the job of every CEO.
Mhm.
Phil Spencer is the least evil of an evil species. At least he sort of understands us.
Or he knows how to hide
And he
it.
knows how to hide it better. It's
Yeah.
true. I don't think he's necessarily evil. I think he's the best option out of a lot of really bad ones.
He's the best bad option. He's the Argo of the game industry.
Exactly. Exactly. So, what else? I don't have anything else in mind that has that listed of stuff that was announced, that was leaked. Do you have any more?
It was Fallout, Elder Scrolls, Microsoft. Phil wants to buy Nintendo. FTC wasn't them. Everything coming to Game Pass.
Yep, Brooklyn,
Yeah.
Controller, kind of it. Yeah, that's about it. So, yeah, and Xbox is not happy.
No. The other thing that we saw, I just realized this. I didn't have I don't even have a tag for this. We got to see how much it costs to bring games to Game Pass.
Mhm.
Um, there's an email where Spencer, this is after or before. This was basically when they knew Starfield was going to get delayed by 2 years, and they're like, "Shit, that means there's going to be a huge gap in first-party games. We need to bring some other stuff to Game Pass to help close
Mhm.
that gap." And so they were kind of spitballing out some ideas of what are some games we could bring to Game Pass day and date, and how much would that cost us? And so their speculation was, and this is a list. Lego Star Wars day and date would cost maybe 35 million. That was their estimate. Dying Light 2, 50 million. Red Dead Redemption 2, and this would be a next gen update for Red Dead Redemption 2. 5 million per month. Um, Return to Monkey Island, 5 million. In retrospect, Baldur's Gate, 5 million. They lowballed that one.
Mhm.
Um, Assassin's Creed Mirage day and date, 100 million. Suicide Squad day and date. Suicide Squad and Mortal Kombat 1 day and date, $250 million. Star
Mhm.
Wars Jedi Survivor day and date, 300 million. And like that's some crazy amount of money they're throwing around.
City Skyline unknown.
Yeah. But like for some of these, Star Wars Jedi Survivor 300 million, I think that might be the whole production budget of that entire game.
Right.
Like, and to think Microsoft out here,
15 million a month for Xbox for Grand Theft Auto 5.
hmm and like to think that they are throwing around that much cash, it's a little intimidating, right? Like, why bother with first party development when you could just spend the budget of first party development to get your game on Game
And
Pass?
I find this hilarious that, you see all these big numbers, and then you see Baldur's Gate 3 being 5 million, with Baldur's
Yeah.
Gate being one of the biggest games of the year.
And there was a little mini controversy about that because in this email, and it doesn't
It's the
it,
same as Return to Monkey Island and
yeah,
Just Dance.
it doesn't the Kotaku article doesn't have the actual email, but the actual email has a table with a breakdown of this is what we expect it to cost. Like this is the wow factor involved in it.
Mhm.
This is what are the pros and cons of getting this game on it? And one of the things that they mentioned about Baldur's Gate is they lowballed it because they said, "Hey, this is going to be a second run Stadia exclusive, from a well-regarded RPG maker." And a lot of people took that comment of second run exclusive to mean second rate, like they were
Mhm.
dissing the game, but it's not. Like the reason they kind of underestimated is because A, even the Larian CEO said everybody underestimated Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody expected that game to hit the way that it did.
Right.
But when Microsoft wrote this email, when the people that wrote it did, at that time, Stadia was still around. And at that time, Baldur's Gate 3 was going to be a Stadia exclusive
Right.
for like a month. And
Right.
so this would basically be, hey, we're going to be where the game goes after the fact. Like the second it premiered exclusively on Stadia, then we'll get it on Game Pass.
Mhm.
And they're like, is that really worth it? And that's why the number is so low because they're not getting it day and date. They're getting it a month after it premiered on Stadia.
Right. I'm trying to
But
see if
like,
I can find a copy of the email so you could see it.
yeah. But like I do think this raises an interesting question that like if they're willing to throw around so much money to get a game day and date on Game Pass, then why would they invest in first party development. Because if you can spend 300 million over 5 years to make a game, or spend 300 million, in November to get Jedi Survivor on your platform exclusively, like that's kind of the same thing, just with less hassle. Like,
Right.
let other people make the game and then just buy it from them.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have a copy of the email. Otherwise, I would show it to you.
Oh, I
But
know we
yeah,
do. Let me try to find it.
Let's Sing ABBA, costing the same amount as Baldur's Gate 3. Meanwhile, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, 250 million, which is already, I mean, not
Which also is not out yet.
it's not out yet, but also the previews were questionable of
Mhm.
what people thought about it. Net Crisis Glitch Busters, 5 million. I'm looking at all the games that other than Baldur's Gate that were listed at 5 million, and some of them
Ah,
are like, I've never even heard of this game.
yeah. Here, let me present.
Blood Runner, 5 million.
I don't even know Blood Runner.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So you can see up here, we don't have the heading.
Hit your control button, like what with your cursor,
Oop.
like choosing that thing. Yeah, hit your control button and then scroll forward on your scroll on your nope, other direction. There we go. Thank you. So we can actually see it bigger.
There we go.
There we go.
So yeah, you've got the name of the game, the release date. I
Right.
think that's the expected Game Pass release date. So
Right.
D&D would be
Day
day
and
and
date.
date. And then you have we don't have headings for these. So but one of them is like wow factor. Let's see.
Okay.
Was high.
Let's go back. Go back down, 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 down. Likely to
Oh,
close
yeah,
or
likely
wow
to close
factor.
and wow factor. So like how likely is it we could get this? And then how impressed would people be that we get this? So
I'm assuming that hub means that it would be high and hub plus would mean huge.
I don't know what hub means because they've got low, medium.
Don't they put things on isn't there a hub where they would like display it on their Xbox hub?
I don't know because they say Suicide Squad, wow factor very high. Jedi Survivor, wow factor very high. Likelihood low.
Yeah.
Wild cards. I like with Mortal Kombat. Wild cards, crown jewel. They won't do. Change of guard at Discovery. Crown jewel. They won't do. Yeah, change of guard at Discovery makes Cell in Motion new, which is kind of funny to talk about.
So let's see.
Hey, hey,
go up to
stop it,
let's
motherfucking
see.
cat. Get. Okay. Scroll up to what?
Scroll up to Baldur's Gate. I want to see what they say about Baldur's.
Yeah,
There we
second
go.
run Stadia PC RPG, expected partner range about 5 million.
Yeah. And they see that it's being hub, which is like apparently maybe the lowest level. I don't know what hub means. What does that
Yeah, neither
mean?
do I.
Maybe I can look this up. What does wow factor hub mean? Wow factor is commonly used slang term in business. Let's see. Hub Xbox.
What's funny is GTA 5 has
It's
a wow
unclear
factor
whether
of low to
hub
medium.
refers to the Xbox Insiders Hub. Hold on a second. I'm reading this from Polygon. Find hub. Okay. It's unclear whether hub refers to the Xbox Insiders Hub games like Let's Sing ABBA and Ubisoft Just Dance got the same distinction. Okay. It's unclear whether hub refers to Xbox Insiders Hub. Games like Let's Sing ABBA and Ubisoft's Just Dance got the same distinction. So they're not quite sure what hub means.
Yeah.
But
and then there's Hub Plus too.
yeah. So it seems like hub is the lowest possible level.
Yeah, it's a low.
They blew it. Did
I mean,
they
what's
see how much was the likely to close for Baldur's Gate? Because it's not Xbox Game Pass, is it?
no, it's not, but it is coming to Xbox. It's
Medium.
medium to close.
Mm-hmm.
But also that this is talking about Game Pass, not just Xbox.
See the stack rank. That's the first column.
Oh yeah, that says Hub 2.
Yeah, so stack rank. So that looks like so that looks like it's the rank of what they want or the likelihood and how much they want it. So it's
But I don't know,
probably a combination of two.
yeah, it's low, medium, low, very low, low, but then medium to high for Hub.
Right. But I think it's a combination that's a factor of, if you go back up, that is a factor of what's the likelihood we could get it and how much wow factor there is. So something with a really high wow factor, but a low chance of us getting it would be farther down on the stack. But something with a high factor and a high chance of getting it, that would be high on the stack. So
Okay.
medium chance of getting it, low to medium wow factor for that particular window, for that whatever that window is. Q what? Scroll up a little bit. Scroll more. For the Q3, for fiscal year, go down. Fiscal year Q3 2023 Q3, number 1 is Gotham
Knights.
Gotham Knights. So they have a medium chance of actually getting it, a low to medium wow factor. That's their number 1 for what they think they're going to be able to on the stack of like, what's the top of the
Okay.
stack for that
Yeah,
particular window.
what's the most likely thing we can actually get?
What's not only the most likely thing we can actually get, but it's the most likely thing that we can actually get that we really, really want to get.
Okay, so yeah, Gotham Knights, then AC Rift, then
Mhm.
Suicide Squad, which they would like, but not a chance of it. Not
That
much
there's a very
chance.
low high, right, but it's very low. Yep.
And then we go down to Hub, which is like, we're not quite sure about this.
Yeah, we don't really, I mean, we're not that super excited about it, but if there's a high chance of us getting it, then it's, higher than the ones that are low chance of getting it.
Mm-hmm.
Where did they mark Baldur's Gate for that quarter as a stack?
At the bottom.
Very bottom. Yeah. Below ABBA, below Return to Monkey Island, below Wreckfest 2. They blew that one. Well, I mean, everybody did. Like you said, nobody had any idea Baldur's Gate was as good as it was.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's a fun little look at the inside of. So how much are these developers getting?
Yeah.
It's about 5 to 300 million.
Yeah. And sometimes it's, and think about this. Think about this. What a mistake it would have been if Baldur's Gate had gone to Game Pass. They would have gotten 5 million, and because they were undervalued, they would have only been able to get about 5 million out of Microsoft. And knowing what we know now, how much we're desperate to get our hands on Baldur's Gate right now.
So okay, what's funny too now? What is coming to Game Pass this month?
Mm-hmm.
One of the games is Gotham Knights.
Uh-huh.
Then you have a bunch of smaller games. Party Animals, which is kind of like a Gang Beasts type game.
Mm-hmm.
The Lamplighters League, which is a Paradox story-driven tactics game. Payday 3,
Mm-hmm.
that's a pretty big one.
That's a big one. I'm
And
looking
then
forward to.
a game called Cocoon that I have not heard about. Looking at this, I expect Cocoon probably costs like 5 million because that seems to be about as low as they go.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine Payday 3 probably got a lot. I'm curious though if Gotham Knights still got 250 million because hey, stop scratching the fucking couch. This was done 3 years ago, before the game came out.
Right.
That game came out to a very lukewarm reception.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if like WB's, hey, we'll take like 50 million. Just please give us something. Anything. Anything.
They're like, well, we have this $5 million left over from Baldur's Gate. We can give you that.
Yeah. I imagine looking at this and thinking about the reception of Gotham Knights, I'll bet Payday 3 was probably the most expensive one on this list.
Probably. And they would be right to do it.
Yeah.
Because they know
yeah.
Payday 3 is going to be good. I know that Payday 3 is going to be good. The question is just how good. Really, really interesting set of events for us to ponder over. I love leaks like this. The
Well,
unvarnished truth.
like the thing is, the games industry is so insanely, like absurdly secretive about all these deals. You go to like Hollywood and oh yeah, we know Paramount is trying to make a movie like 3 years in advance. Oh yeah, what's Christopher Nolan's next movie? They're going to announce that like 2 years before it comes out. We
Right.
know what all these people are working on years before it comes out. Meanwhile, in the games industry, you're like, so we might be working on Elder Scrolls. We probably are, but we're not going to officially say it. We don't want
Right.
to say it. It's
Right.
like everything is so secretive.
Hey, we got Pissed in the chat room. Hi, Pissed.
Yeah. AC Wraith says Payday is currently thought of as awful.
Oh, really?
I had heard that it had a lot of like server issues. I don't know what people think of the actual game. I just heard it had like really bad server issues.
Yeah, and I would expect Serpads anytime there's a multiplayer server, it's going to have server issues.
Also, well, I don't know how much Steam reviews are relevant. If a game has server issues but is otherwise a great game, it will get lambasted on Steam. But also, I still think it's the most expensive game on that Game Pass list because Microsoft would have paid them long before like this game came out.
Piss says, jumped to my first Payday heist. We did not know what we were doing. We made no money after an hour, but we had mad fun. We've since gone back and did the tutorials, waiting to get back into it with the crew. Say, that's what Payday's all about. Mad fun.
Yeah. And like
Also, do the tutorial.
It's a big name. Payday 2 was hugely successful. I'll bet Microsoft paid for the teeth.
They paid a lot for it. They paid a lot for it.
They paid more than Gotham Knights.
They paid 150 million, at least, if not 200 million.
I would believe that.
Yeah. So, moving right along to something that has absolutely nothing to do with their leaks, sort of, and only very much sort of. Let's see, where do I get that out? Phil Spencer really wants you to like forget that there was that leak and stop talking about it. So, curiously enough, Xbox tried to distract you by announcing 5 Tokyo Game Show games that are coming to Game Pass. Anything. Please ignore the little man behind the curtain. So this is what they announce are coming and when they're coming. Oh, my eye just gave me a hard time. Hold on. I just had a bad moment. All right. Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney Trilogy. It's going to be arriving on Xbox Game Pass and PC Game Pass next week on September 26th. Which I guess is not, I mean, technically not next week because it's Sunday, and Sundays, at least here, start the week, but whatever. Forza Motorsports is coming to Xbox Series X and S with Game Pass, Windows with PC with PC Game Pass, and also coming to Steam on October 10th. Early access players are going to get access to it on October 5th. Mineko's Night Market. Mineko's Night Market. Social simulation game coming to Xbox and PC through Game Pass and Game Pass for PC on October 26th. So that's next month, almost a month away. Persona 5 Tactica, PC and Xbox through, of course, Game Pass and Game Pass PC. Do I have a date on that? I will have to look for the date. There's a date. I just forgot to write it down. Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name, and Like a Dragon Ishin, Game Pass on November 9th. Persona 3 Reload, Game Pass for PC, Xbox, and also Game Pass PC, February 2nd, 2024. Ayuden Chronicle 100 Heroes, which is the spiritual successor to the Suikoden series. That's coming to Game Pass on Xbox, as far as we know, only Xbox, on April 23rd, 2024. Whatever you do, please stop talking about the leak of information. Please, for God's sake, stop talking about the leak of information. Anything to make you stop about talking about the leak of information. So, your next item?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Unity.
You do that while I pee, because I just
Okay.
had a bunch of water. I'll be back.
Let me actually find. Shoot, was that? Where's the goddamn? Okay, here it is. So last week, Unity announced that it would charge developers a fee every time their game was installed. That fee would be retroactive. And very quickly, everyone said this is a terrible idea. And it makes sense it's a terrible idea because, I mean, you just saw how much Payday 3 was review bombed on Steam. Imagine if all those people said, we don't like this, we're going to install your game, then uninstall it, then reinstall it, then uninstall it, reinstall it, and basically do that to cost the developer money. Unity has since tried to clarify a bunch of rules. They backtracked on a lot of stuff because at first they said, yeah, reinstalls will count. Then they said reinstalls won't count. Then they basically said at the end of last week, we're going to go back to the drawing board to try to make this better. They're still talking about a fee. And on Bloomberg, tentative changes were leaked. Some of those tentative changes included limiting fees to 4% of a game's revenue over $1 million. So that basically there's a cap to all this bullshit fee. Installations counting toward reaching that threshold will no longer be retroactive, which is really good because that the entire idea of it being retroactive in the first place is like there has to be a breach of contract. I know people were talking about starting a class action lawsuit because of that, because they had to change their contract to justify it being retroactive. So at the very least, that's like maybe a change made for legal reasons more than like trying to make people feel better reasons. And also, installations will no longer be tracked by a proprietary tool of Unity's. Instead, Unity will rely on users to self-report the data. That at least that seems like it could, in theory, be a good change because before Unity basically said, "Trust us, we know how much a game was installed," and basically they would charge developers a fee based on their own tracking data, which developers could not see. Now they at least say it will be based on self-reported data, which, developers could at least have some sort of foreknowledge of how much they would get charged, but they would still get charged the fee.
What's the topic? You didn't
Uh,
bring up the.
oh, the tentative
Oh,
changes to Unity feeds. And the changes are okay. Like if it feels like they're trying the best way possible. They're trying to figure out a way to make this work. They shouldn't be doing this in the first place. And all of these changes made seem like they water it down to the point when you even have to ask, what is the point of this? Like, what is the point? And I stand by my previous assessment that this is them getting out of the game development business without actually getting out of it. And
exactly.
so watering down this to the point that it doesn't really make them any money doesn't matter because it was always meant to just drive people away.
Right. It did what it's supposed to do. What is it? I heard that. Who was it that announced that they are giving a massive amount of money to Godot and the other one, that they're like making a huge donation to the
So,
development of those two
also has
platforms.
as a consequence of all this, the
That's right,
Terraria
Terraria.
developer said they're going to donate 100K each to the open source game engines, which includes Godot and FNA.
Right. I knew it was 3 letters. I couldn't remember what it was.
Yeah, and they said that we are sponsoring each of these projects with one, and this is from, I'm reading from their announcement. We are sponsoring each of these projects with $1,000 a month, not 100,000 a month. Let's too many zeros. With $1,000 a month each moving forward. So that's in addition to the 100K. All we ask in return is that they remain good people and keep doing all that they can to make these engines powerful and approachable for developers everywhere.
Mhm.
So I'm going to read more of this because this is a real fuck you statement to Unity.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
the loss of a formerly leading and user-friendly game engine to the darker forces that negatively impact so much of the gaming industry has left us dismayed, to put it mildly. While
Mhm.
we do not personally use Unity, we feel like we cannot sit idly by as these predatory moves are made against studios everywhere. We unequivocally condemn and reject the recent TOS fee changes proposed by Unity and the underhanded way they were rolled out. The flippant manner with which years of trust cultivated by Unity were cast aside for yet another way to squeeze publishers, studios, and gamers is the saddest part. That this move was wholly unnecessary pushes things into the tragedy category, a cautionary tale the industry will not soon forget. Yeah.
They did not mince words, did they?
No, no.
Not at
It's
all.
glorious.
Mhm.
And AC Wraith brings up another banner that I was about to talk about, app loving, which is like a, I don't really know exactly what it is. I think it's like a I don't know what it is, but basically they announced Project Unifree, which is basically an open source project that uses Chat GPT to try to help developers migrate projects from Unity to various others. Godot, Unreal, Coco's Creator. The project is available under the MIT license on GitHub. So it's basically an open source project that helps convert things off of Unity.
Mhm.
Which, you know what? If there's ever a use for Chat GPT, this is a pretty good use for it. This, like, in terms of total game development, having a AI that helps convert things from one engine to another, that's a pretty good use of AI for what would otherwise be a really
Yeah,
tedious job.
exactly. And this is exactly the kind of thing that AI would be able to do very quickly. It
Hmm.
if you could press a button and let the AI do it, and then just, go back and do a little bit of code checking.
Yeah.
Ah,
The statement they made is the current version of this tool is a proof of concept. I wanted to demonstrate that we can utilize modern LLMs to ease the transition between Unity and other engines, and I think early results are positive. It makes sense because fundamental game engine structures are similar, but language and APIs can vary a lot. This is exactly what LLMs are good at, large language models, generalizing and translating an idea. Once we implement static asset migration and improve LLM prompts, I believe this tool has potential to help hundreds of developers ease the daunting task of rewriting the entire game from scratch on a new engine. Yeah,
yeah, couldn't happen to nicer guys.
yeah.
All right, so my
Oh, and
next
AC Wraith specifies that app loving is an ad tool that Unity was trying to maneuver around.
right, right.
Okay, so they have history with Unity.
Yeah, and they're gonna have a lot more very soon.
Yeah, in other words, Unity tried to make people not use app loving. So
Yeah,
having app loving help people not use Unity is
yeah.
poetic. And
Mhm.
Chunder asks, "What's the green stuff you're shoveling into your mouth?"
This it's
Looks like
seaweed.
kale. Kale
Seaweed
chips.
snacks.
Seaweed snack. Okay,
They're really
those,
good.
I've had
Have you
those.
ever
Those,
had one?
yeah,
They're really good.
they are. They're basically like a chip, right? They're crunchy, they're kind of
Yeah.
salty.
Yeah. If you like sushi, it's like essentially the outside of a sushi roll, but
It's a
it's
sushi
really,
chip.
really quite good. Nice and salty, and it's like chips, but they're actually kind of good for you.
Mhm.
Um, I just realized that my stomach was growling as I like came back from the bathroom break. I was really like, I need to put something in my stomach. And yeah. So anyway, my next item is no, a game I have wanted. Well, I played and I was
Oh,
frankly
and
appalled.
wait, I have to just. Oh, can I scroll up? Thank you, pissed.
Ah.
Okay, continue on.
Continuing on, a game that I played and I quickly left screaming because
Okay,
I
wait. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt you again. AC Wraith says he's never had sushi. What? Dude, you're missing out.
so missing out.
Sushi's delicious.
Mhm. So,
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
are you done?
I had look, I had to
I mean, I don't
not having
blame you,
sushi.
but are you done?
Right. As far as I know. I don't know. The chat might say something else in a second.
A game that I really wanted to like because I really wanted Skull and Bones, and it didn't happen. And then I tried to play it, and I ran.
It's delicious. What are you talking about?
Are we just gonna have the sushi war? Let's have the sushi war. Let's go ahead. Have
No,
the sushi
no.
war.
Skull and Bones. You're talking about Skull and Bones.
All right. Skull and Bones. I really wanted Skull and Bones.
Mm.
Can't get Skull and Bones. But I got this other game called Sea of Thieves. I tried to play it. It was fucking miserable because all it was a bunch of
Aw.
13-year-olds just fucking up your shit as you're trying to learn the game. So I haven't touched Sea of Thieves then, and apparently it is one of the more toxic games out there. If you want just like 12-year-old to 15-year-old toxic people, that's Sea of Thieves. It makes
Mm.
Uno look like Monopoly. But finally, after 10 seasons, Sea of Thieves has figured out that not everybody wants to become victims. Sometimes they just want to go play a pirate game. That Skull and Bones was supposed to be around to be that other game, but apparently it's not. So yes, season 10 of Sea of Thieves is adding a solo mode. And it's not it can be an entirely solo mode. It could also just be friends only mode,
Oh,
which
that's cool.
yeah, because I mean, the whole point of it is actually to have a crew. And if you're not playing with a crew, you kind of take a lot out of it. But they just figured that they're just going to turn off the toxic button. They're calling it the Safer Seas feature. And the quote, Safer Seas is intended to offer a gentler introduction to Sea of Thieves for new players, as well as providing a quieter map for existing players looking to pursue their own solo adventures. If you're hoping to get some peaceful fishing done or complete a few tall tales without interference, Safer Seas is the perfect choice. All applicable commendations can be progressed in this mode. So there's a lot of work toward there's a lot of work towards without there's a lot to work toward without needing to keep an eye on the horizon for enemy players, because that's what you freaking have to do, especially when you're new. um so what the things that you can do: obviously play solo, obviously play with friends only. The things that you cannot do, however, there is a rank cap of 40. So you can't reach the pirate legend status, and you can't take any voyages on behalf of Athena's Fortune Trading Company. Some of the other elements that are like PvP required, like the Reaper's Bones, the emissary system, and the faction battles, also obviously not available because you won't be doing any faction battles because there's no factions. There's just you and your friends. But the mode is going to be introduced in December. And yeah, I would go back to Sea of Thieves if it wasn't just a miserable griefing session of a bunch of people that have been playing a very lot longer than I have. And, like people just coming in and shooting up your shit when you're trying to just, dig up some treasure.
Yeah.
Like every time you get like more than one thing in your ship, all of a sudden somebody's bombing your ship and taking it away from you. I already graduated elementary school. I don't need to do it again in a game. I already had my lunch money stolen more than enough times. Thank you. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Especially since it's like friends as well. That's not just solo. So that means like we could start a crew.
Mm-hmm. So I'm curious to know, Pissed, is wonderful what you think of sushi? Or are
that
you
what
just
you think
super
of
happy
solo
about
mode?
the safer mode? So your next item.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ochana says could be a
it
good
would
game to
be a
stream.
great Steam game. It would be a very good Steam game.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, and
never
he
gonna
specifies it's the
Oh yeah,
solo mode.
solo mode. I'm super psyched about that.
Agreed. Thankfully, my other two stories are just some fun ones.
Mhm.
Star Wars Eclipse, the Star Wars game coming from Quantic Dreams,
Mhm.
the developer known for such masterpieces as Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls, and
Oh,
what was the other one? Oh, Detroit, Become Human. They're
it
making a
was
Star
alright.
Wars game.
Oh, it's alright.
I never actually played that one. Uh, they're making a Star Wars game. It's supposed to be more of an action game than an adventure game, like all the previous stuff. But they said that they're kind of keeping the DNA of their story-driven games in that anyone can die, and the story kind of just keeps going forward and compensates for that. Similar
Mhm.
to how in Heavy Rain, if one of your characters dies, the story just kind of keeps going and jumps
Right.
to focus on one of the other characters, which is cool. I like that idea. Like honestly, for all the bullshit of Heavy Rain, that was one of the cooler features in it. That the
Mhm.
story just kind of kept going when a major character died.
Right. It means that and it's honestly the thing I liked best about the game is that it was thoughtful enough and complete enough that it was good if it was gonna give you this kind of story that they thought ahead to all the potential gameplay, implications of that story. So that you didn't it didn't feel like you had your training wheels on, but at the same time, it didn't like, "Oh, somebody died, start the level over." It's like, "Oh,
Hmm.
no, it actually felt like it did." I will say, I hated Heavy Rain, but it felt like a complete game.
Hmm. Also, this new story gave me an excuse to rewatch this trailer.
Mhm.
This was like a kind of really cool
It
trailer.
does seem really
Like
cool.
honestly, there's no way the game is if you can
No
put
way
on
it
the
looks that
music
good.
too, like the music is super atmospheric and kind of spooky and intense. The game is not going to live up to any of this at
Mm-mm.
all.
Oh,
Like
no, 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 no,
let's
no.
lower those expectations right away.
Absolutely.
But this trailer is really good.
Yeah.
It's really cool. So yeah,
Alright,
that's
so
a fun one. It's that hey, in Quantic Dreams, the first thing is an action game. So the first thing you're gonna do, let's see how many people we can kill.
yeah, I like that too.
How many people can you kill in the first 10 minutes and have the story keep going?
That's an interesting challenge we may have to do.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. What else have I got? Sea of Thieves. All right. Valve. Your favorite money. Talk about you know what? Valve is nothing but microtransactions because all you end up doing is buying a bunch of games that you never play. Well, good news. Now you have an early schedule of all the games that you're not going to buy and not going to play, or at least when that's going to happen. So Steam did announce its schedule for Valve sales for 2023, 2024. So here's what we're looking at. Okay. The Shmup Fest is the next one. That is coming up September 25th through October 2nd. In fact, it's going to start tomorrow. Then October 9th to 16th is the Next Fest. Then Halloween, October 26th through November 2nd, is the return of the Steam Scream Fest. Then the autumn sale is going to be November 21st through 28th. The winter sale is going to be December 21st through January 4th. Capitalism and Economy Fest is going to be January 8th through 15th. Then on January 22nd through 29th, you're going to have the Pirates versus Ninjas Fest. February 5th through 12th is the next Fest. February 12th through 19th is the Remote Play Together sale.
Okay.
February 26th through March 4th is the Dinos versus Robots Fest. Then March 14th through the 21st is the spring sale. And then March 25th through April 1st is the Deck Builders Fest. Now, they didn't actually mention everything. They made it clear that this is not all of the sales. It's an incomplete list, but these are confirmed dates. So get your wallets ready because they're about to be assaulted with prejudice. And your next item?
Oh, I will say, I can kind of see the issue with announcing the sales because I
You're
decided
gonna hold off of buying some, are you?
I decided I want to get Phasmophobia.
Oh, right. You
Get
talked about that.
Yes, but specifically for PC so
Mhm.
that I could play with other friends and you. But right now
every time you screw me over, I'm sending you a Hoof GP video.
right now it's $14 and it's not on sale. And so I'm thinking, well, you know what? I could just wait a month.
Wait a month until October. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because you know that one's going on sale. Whoop.
Add it to my wish list,
Mhm.
and now I will keep track of it.
All right. So your next item.
My other next item is this is just a really dorky fun one. Jamie Lee Curtis is just a fucking dork.
Is she really?
So One Piece
Mhm.
came out the live action version on Netflix, and like I guess for all intents and purposes is actually done pretty well. Like it's been pretty well reviewed. Fans like it. Um, like it's done really well. She posted something to Instagram saying once the strike is over, she's gonna lobby to play Dr. Kurahara, who I don't know, but she's basically like pre-announcing her desire to play a character in the One Piece live action show.
Really?
Which, like, for an A-level actor like that, it's just really, really funny.
Mm-hmm. See, I'm pulling it up right now if I can.
And like in the Instagram post, it has a picture of the anime character. And you know what? I could totally see Jamie Lee Curtis playing her.
Yeah. Let's see, where is it? I'm trying to find it. Come on.
Oh, I can't see that link, but apparently the showrunner responded.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, what'd they say? Showrunner says, "Let's talk."
Of course
Which,
he
like,
did.
oh
Of
yeah,
course he
honestly,
did.
like, why would you say no?
Yep.
So yeah, that's just a happy story.
And I've got one final kind of happy story myself. Ubisoft has announced that Division 3 is in development. This comes by way. Oh, actually, I forgot a couple of other things that I did make a banner for. Game Pass games coming out. You have until September 30th. Let me talk about that. Game Pass. There we go. Game
Oh.
Pass insies and outsies. Okay, here's your outsies for Game Pass. You have until September 30th to download and play. Beacon Pines for Cloud Console and PC. Despot's Game, Cloud Console, PC. Last Call BBS for PC. Moonscars for Cloud Console and PC. Outriders for Cloud
Mm.
Console and PC. Proteus, Cloud Console and PC. And Weird West, Cloud Console and PC. Now,
I heard of some of those. Some of those are like pretty well regarded.
yeah. And I'm sorry, we talked about the Inzies. The Inzies are the stuff that's coming on with Tokyo Game Show. So yeah. Forgot to
Yeah.
add that into that. But my
Okay.
actual thing about Ubisoft, they've revealed that they are going to have where is it? Division 3 is in development. That
What's
was
funny is
announced by
they announced that in the most low key way possible, of like, hey, here's
well, they announced
Jim.
it at the stockholders. By the way, I invited you if you wanted to go to the stockholders meeting and you didn't answer or reply.
Where did you text me?
Mm-hmm. And said, hey, Nick, want to go to the stockholders meeting with me? Like watch it with me.
But like the way they announced it was basically, hey, we've got Jim is becoming like the new blah blah blah, and he's working on these games, including
Mhm.
Division 3.
Julian Garrity.
Which I'm not opposed to.
Mhm.
Because like I said before, the game industry is absurdly secretive. Like it's okay to have announcements like this, but it's
Right.
funny that this is
They
how it
did
gets
they did
announced.
downplay it. They hid they hid the lead.
Yeah.
So yeah, they
Well,
announced the appointment of Julian Garrity as the executive producer of Division 3. And that's how they kind of they revealed that they were working on Division 3. So
no, you never sent me that text. You just said I started my Daily Scoot YouTube channel.
no, this was way before that. Way before that. Maybe I sent you an email. I definitely
No, because
asked if you
before
wanted to go.
that was you talking about Embracer selling Gearbox.
Yeah, no, it was quite some time ago that I asked you because they announced that it was like
Oh,
2 months ago.
okay.
So Julian Garrity has worked on Division games. He's also worked on Splinter Cell, Ghost Recon, The Crew. So he's coming from a deep knowledge of the games and also the Division series. So yeah, Division 3 coming. Doesn't surprise me. That game is, I don't want to call it a sleeper hit, but it's done well. It doesn't make a lot of noise, but it makes a lot of money.
Yeah, look, we were talking about Starfield and comfort games. Division was the perfect game to just kind of play and put on a podcast and listen to it and like not think too much. It's
Mhm.
not like a super difficult game, but it's also has just enough like thought to kind of, I'm gonna
Right.
run around, I'm gonna shoot some stuff,
Yeah.
I'm gonna find some guns, I'm gonna sell
Yeah.
some guns.
Yeah.
It's a perfectly fine comfort
I
food
I found
game.
I found it frustrating. I don't want to say end game, but like middle game where it was just all about equipment, just equipment whoring and trying to get better equipment and better equipment. And that was when it was like, that's why I really did like Division 1 because the story was so good. And then from there on out, it was like, all right, that's kind of not, it's not really propelling me through the game anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So, I am going to be playing Starfield again tonight. It's up to you guys if you want to watch it. You don't have to. I am probably going to stream it. If you're there, great. If you're not there, fine. I mean, I would love to have you, obviously, but don't feel obligated. My eyes really bugging me. I have held off before giving myself my next dose of eye drops out of discretion because I know Nick would flip out.
Oh, I don't mind eye drops. Eye drops are fine.
Really?
Yeah.
How is eye drops fine and contact lenses not?
Because a contact
Not
lens
even
is something.
looking at my red not
A
oozy eye.
contact lens is like touching your eye, and you gotta stick your finger in there. An eye drop, you hold it over, and then you put a drop of water, which is like not dangerous. A drop of water isn't gonna make your eye explode, but sticking your finger into your eye socket could make your
You're
eye
not sticking
explode.
your finger onto your eye socket.
You not intentionally.
God.
When that
You've got a
9.0
phobia. That's a flat out phobia.
when that
What
9.0
has anyone I'm looking this up. Has anyone been blinded by mistakenly sticking their finger into their eye socket while putting on contacts?
when that
Has
9.0 earthquake hits, the moment you're putting it in, that sucks to be you.
contact lens induced blindness.
Oh God, that
Almost
sounds
all of these
terrible.
occurred as a result of contact lenses coming into contact with water. In some cases, the blindness comes on suddenly as an amoeba attacks the cornea. Symptoms leading up to this your sudden loss of vision can include pain, blurry vision, and light sensitivity. I think I think that the doctor was very concerned about that because I do have pain, blurry vision, and light
Oh,
sensitivity, but I
okay.
didn't have any water in my eye. Like when I put my contacts in, I literally had washed my hands and dried them thoroughly just before I did that.
Okay. Yeah, like this. Tell me you've never worn contacts without telling me you've never worn contacts.
Exactly. You never watched anybody put a contact in.
No, I have. Well, I have in movies,
Mhm.
and it's still icky.
No. You just need to watch somebody putting in contacts a few times. It'll be fine. A college student who slept in contacts went blind. I was
No.
blinded by my contact lens, a rare infection.
Okay, makes sense.
Woman goes blind in one eye after rinsing contact lenses. Has anyone stuck a finger through their eye while putting it? Oh my God, that's actually autofilling while putting contact lenses in.
See, I'm not the only one.
There's absolutely none. There's a bunch of articles about fear of touching your eyes, 3 tricks to putting in contact lenses. So clearly it hasn't happened, but that fear is very much a thing. Oh, actually, you know what would freak you out more? Not putting them in
What do you mean not putting them in?
or taking them out. Having
Oh,
to like
right. Yeah, yeah. How? See, that's when you're sticking your finger in your eye because you got
No,
to
you're
actually
not. You're touching the
touch.
contact lens and you just cocking the contact lens until you can get that lens between your 2 fingers and then you just pop it
Oh
out.
no, no, no! You're gonna get in there. You're gonna like pick it and pull.
And your
You're gonna
whole eyeball's gonna come out
you're gonna
right in
reach
your
in too
hand.
far, and you're gonna pinch your iris or
You're not gonna pinch
your
you're not gonna pinch your eye.
your corner, not
Cornea?
corona,
You're
cornea.
not your
You're
cornea.
gonna
You're
pinch your
not gonna
cornea
pinch your
and pull
cornea.
it off.
You're not gonna pinch your cornea. It's not like that. I'm totally pulling up, Hoof GP right now.
No, I'm tabbed away. I'm not looking at the StreamYard tab.
There we
I
go.
was
Contact lens risks. When the contact lens falls off the tip of your finger, you poke yourself in the eye. No, you don't. You can see that the contact lens has fallen off the end of your finger.
okay. What is this? Pist is actually coming with science. The body has an auto defense response to anything getting to your eye. It has to learn that the contact lens is okay, but it don't let you go further.
I never had a problem putting in contact lenses. I hate you ranked links to the Three Stooges. Boink.
Oh yeah, that. God, that idea to poke you in the eye. How do
Yeah.
people not go blind after that?
Pist says, I can touch my eyeball when the contact is on. I cannot when it's there. Exactly. Like you don't feel it because you're touching the contact, not your eye. And the only thing that touches your eye when you're putting it in is the contact, which you can't feel.
I don't know how you people do it. I don't get it.
I'm gonna hold you down and put a contact in your eye.
Oh no, that's awful. Edie,
How
how
can you
could you
see when
be
you
so
have your
mean?
contact in? Because I'm farsighted. I can see anything right up in here. I mean, I read. I have to take off my glasses to read my iPhone. In fact, I could see you right now just fine. Well, not fine. You're blurry, but I can see you. But I out there beyond is just a absolute dead blur. But also I can see my where my hand is right now. Where see where you can see it. Where my hand is right now, I can see just fine. It's like 2020. I mean, it's not 2020, but it's absolutely clear right here. But once you get past here, right about let's see, let's change this out.
What?
Not that. Where's the
Oh my God. This
what?
this is a CNN story from 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Doctors find 27 contact lenses in
Oh
woman's
yeah,
eye.
that person. Yeah, that was all. Yeah, yeah.
What?
Yep.
What? The the woman had been wearing monthly disposable contact lenses for 35 years. Sometimes, she told the surgeons, when she would try to remove a contact lens from that eye, she couldn't find it. The patient had just figured she dropped it somewhere, but it was actually getting stuck in her eye with the others.
Yep. And they just pile up on the top of the eye.
Ah,
Um.
God.
So I can see here, and it starts to
Oh,
get
yeah.
blurry.
So Piz says, didn't they do an eyeball
But
extraction in Total Recall? Yes, they
yes, they
did.
did.
And you know what? That was a fine scene because I've been desensitized to cinematic violence, but not real life violence like
Cinematic eye
contact
violence.
lenses. I'm happy seeing someone's eye get stabbed in a movie, but you try to put a contact lenses in front of me. That's a step too far.
That's right. It makes me nearsighted. Yes, it makes me nearsighted. I'm very, very, very nearsighted. So yeah,
He specified the eyeball extraction is what pissed imagined when you said you're gonna hold me down and put a contact lens in.
yeah. She must have splitting headaches. Who me? I
No,
never
the
had
lady
headaches.
with 27 contacts.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, I've had that happen where a contact is slid up underneath my eyelid, and I've had to kind of go, oh, come on, get back down there,
Oh.
come back down there, and then it comes back down and slides over my eye. I'm like, okay, good, now I can take you out.
Oh, I got enough issues of contact lenses going in the front. I don't need to know about contact lenses somehow like sliding all the way to the back of my
They
eye.
don't slide to the back of your eye; they kind of get up and caught up underneath your eyelid.
Nope. Now I'm imagining a contact lens somehow going onto the back and then severing the nerves at the back of the eye, and all of a sudden you go blind.
It is kind of
So
cool where you're like you're working on it. It's like, come on, get out of there. And all of a sudden it goes, you can see it kind of sticking out the edge, and then it goes kind of goes squirt right back out your
yeah,
eye.
and then you're like it's like peeling off a flesh of your eye.
Well, you're not peeling off anything. Oh God. Pissed in the 80s Total Recall, a ball was pulled out of the main character's nose, eyes bucked out in the loss of atmosphere scene.
I thought there was like some sort of eyeball.
There was the
thing.
eyeballs exploding.
No, they didn't explode. They just bulged.
Can't do anything till it comes out. The world stops until you get it out. That's absolutely true. It's
I
because you can feel it, and it's like, oh my God. In fact, that's what this eye feels like. It feels like I have a contact on top of my eye, but I don't. I know that I don't
hmm.
because I took the contacts out as soon as I came home. And doctor checked, no contacts. But I did take it out. Just in the case of, just in the off chance I was like early level dementia, where I swear I took it out. I did take it out.
Um, in random game news again,
Mhm. Yeah.
I found something about Payday 3, and I guess why it had such a bad launch
Yeah.
is it actually requires it's always online. So you need to always be online to play it, and I guess the servers didn't hold up under the, the anticipation and all the players. So crashed, slow matchmaking, server disconnects, basically made the game unplayable.
So AC Ray says 80s kid, lots of TV viewing. Are you talking about me? And did you intentionally put a emoji there with only one eye open?
It's just a winking emoji, but that's good.
Well, it's kind of where I am right now. Like, oh, I can't see. All right. So I'm gonna go. We're gonna go. We are
Oh,
going. I am gonna go play Starfall tonight.
wait.
I am home all until well, I'm supposed to be home all week, but I think by Wednesday we're gonna know if it's infectious or not.
Okay, yeah. Also, it's worth saying for Payday 3, on PS5, I guess Sony pushed the wrong build of the game to release.
Oh no! What game was this?
Payday 3. So not only to have always online issues, but the PS5 version, the wrong build got
broken.
released for
Oh,
people to
no.
buy. Oh, it says Sony is working on rolling out the proper patch.
Oh Jesus!
For
That's
reasons
a
out of
lawsuit.
yeah, that really sucks.
That's a huge lawsuit because I mean, you know, and I know that you only get one chance to make a good first impression when it comes to games, and a bad release, you
Mhm.
miss opportunities. Just ask, CD Projekt Red.
Although I guess somewhat related news, the DLC Phantom Liberty came out that like
Mhm.
updated the whole game, and apparently it's really, really good.
Which one?
The Phantom Liberty, the DLC for Cyberpunk. Like,
Mhm.
because it wasn't only the DLC, it like went back and retroactively changed how the skill system worked, retroactively added a whole bunch of other stuff, and
They will
apparently
never
like
gain back. They will never gain back the hype that they had.
not the hype, but you know what? After hearing people talk about it, I've thought, you know what? Maybe I should play the
Maybe
game.
I should go. That's exactly right. Now maybe I might want to buy it, but
So
I'm
yeah.
only going to buy it on sale,
Yeah.
which
But
I wouldn't
at
have
the very
done
least, it
if it
does
was that
seem like
amazing.
it does seem like it did well. They did
Mhm.
good.
Yeah. Pist calls it Cyberpunk 2.0.
Mhm.
Genderbox says, "How do you feel about permanent contacts where they put it under the eye lens?
What the fuck?
You cut into it and then they stick the lens underneath."
What the
I will never do that. I actually got I talked to somebody about doing LASIK and I opted not to do it because it essentially gives you monovision, which means I could only see distances and I wouldn't be able to see close up. And they can do it where it's like they'll do one eye long distance, one eye short distance, and your brain kind of evens that out. But I don't want to do that either. So the thing I'm actually thinking
Weird.
of is doing orthokeratotomy, which is essentially a big, fat, stinking contact that you put in every day, and it changes the shape of your eyeball
Really?
slowly over time. And then it's like a bit like braces for your eyes. You put
Hmm.
them on and you sleep with them on, and you take them off during the day. And you sleep with them on, you take them off, and you can actually see because it alters the shape of your eye. And when I was in with my ophthalmologist or optometrist with getting contacts, I had mentioned to her, and she was like, "Oh yeah, you're a really good candidate for that."
That's kind
So
of
it's like
cool.
LASIK, but not like the permanent decision that you
Yeah.
might like, because I want to be able to know what I'm getting myself into and how troublesome it is.
Yeah.
Because I would rather see things. I would rather put glasses on and be able to have my long vision corrected than to constantly, every time I look at something small, have to be putting on my cheaters.
Mm. Hmm. That's really impressive that we can do that.
Mhm.
And I hope to never have to engage with that level of technology.
Does your mom have glasses? Your dad have glasses?
Mom does.
When did she start wearing them?
I have no idea.
So here's how to stay out of glasses. Never get your first pair.
Okay.
My eyes probably wouldn't be nearly as bad, or I may not have ever needed to use glasses, but I insisted on getting glasses because I was noticing that my eyes were getting a little bit weak in high school. And I went from having barely a correction to like functionally blind in a matter
Wow.
of 6 years. Once you start wearing glasses, you get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse until you get to a
Is it
point where
like
you
your
are
your
bad.
body starts relying on it as a crutch?
Mhm.
Hmm.
Not your body, these are muscles. These are muscles in your eyes that
Okay,
are
makes
working
sense.
to correct what the imperfections of your eyes. That's why
Yeah.
you didn't have glasses in medieval times, because if you couldn't see, you just kept not seeing, and it kind of found a way to work itself out. But when you started using glasses, they get progressively worse over time. The more you correct, the worse it gets. Then the more you correct, the worse it gets. So, and my brother had good eyes, and he had okay eyes, and he never got glasses. And because I thought glasses were cool and made you look smart, Ian never got glasses, and he's got better than perfect visions now.
Wow.
Mhm.
Yeah, Piss says he can't get LASIK because he can barely see out of his left eye, and it's not correctable with glasses or contacts.
Oh,
Uh,
astigmatism.
if they were to mess it up, he would be effectively blind.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That sucks.
Yeah, that does suck. Yeah, the whole idea of LASIK, I don't have a problem with the idea of somebody cutting into my eye. Actually, a little bit I do, because I actually let them walk in while somebody was having LASIK done. I'm like, should I be in here? And they're like, oh, yeah, not fine, just fine. I'm like, well, what happens if I like my eye twitches while you're doing it? And I know that's gonna be fine. And they're like, it's fine.
So what's funny is I know LASIK and I'm okay with that idea of like, yeah, using a laser to reshape the eyelid because hey, look, it's a laser. It's not my hand, it's not my finger. What freaks me out there is that I imagine if I were to accidentally blink, the laser would just like slice through my eyelid.
Yep. No, the laser's not gonna slice through your eyelid. It's
No, it's
not that
not.
kind of a laser.
But in my head, that's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna accidentally blink and my eyelid is gonna get cut in half.
I am going to bring up what I think when I think of that, of a LASIK laser. When I actually walked in there, um, let's see if I can do it. There we go. This is what I thought, and this shows how old I am. This is what I thought when I walked in, and that person was working on the laser. Do you know what this is?
It looks familiar. Is it Star Trek?
Oh, come on,
No,
guys.
it's not
Come
Star
on.
Trek. The
5
women
points. 5 points to anybody in the chat room who can correct Nick on this one.
it's definitely from that era.
No, it's not. Way before that era. Not Johnny Quest. Thank you, AC Wraith. You know what it is. If you know, you know. Not Johnny
Johnny
Quest.
Quest?
Nah.
No, Johnny Quest is an animated show.
I'm not
Logan's
going to put it.
Run?
Logan's Run.
Oh. I never saw Logan's Run.
Yeah, this was the laser surgery scene. And let's see if I can fast forward it. Yeah, I'll fast forward it to when he gets attacked. There we go. There we go. This is what I was thinking of. But he gets attacked while he's in the laser surgery room. And I
Oh, wait, he
hope that
ran
it
out of the
actually
room.
shows. Right, because the guy was trying to kill him. He gets him in under laser surgery because he's on the run.
Oh.
He was going to change his face. Come on. There it is. And so the guy he attacks him because there's a, essentially bounty out for him. No,
Oh.
that's supposed to swim. Did we not go back there? Here we go.
Ah, that.
Yeah. That's what I was looking for. That's what I was looking for. He's trying to kill him. They're in the fight. The lasers are going off. And he throws him back down. And this is what I think of when I was standing in that room watching the laser surgery go. Yep. Good
Okay,
old Logan's Run.
that's a cool scene.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, anyway, thank you for the link. When the crystal in your palm turns red in your 30s, you're forced to unalive. Yes, you're forced to unalive. That was how they saved resources.
Mm-hmm.
That laser machine looks a bit like Curie from Fallout. It does. All right, so I think it's time we leave. Can we end the show so I can go play Fallout? Fallout.
Yeah.
Can I play Starfall?
Starfield.
Starfield. God damn it.
Wait, what is Starfall? Starfall has to be a thing.
Is Starfall something?
Starfall Education kids games.
What I'm doing is I'm combining Starfield and Fallout.
How is Starfall not like a movie name?
Starfall sounds badass. Okay. That's the name of our space Ookie Bookie Spaloozy. It's called Starfall.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna go play Starfield. So can we end the show now that we've gone through our tangents and stuff, and I've actually completed my box of seaweed snacks?
Yes, and apparently Starfall is not taken. So if we're gonna make a sci-fi movie, we're gonna name it Starfall
I might
because
have
that's
to
a
do
cool
something about
name, and I can't believe it hasn't been taken yet.
that. Me either. All right. Well, on that note, let's close this out.
Yeah.
You've been listening to GameHounds, episode 693. We are. Oh, wait, before we go any further, I forgot one thing. Next week's the last show, I believe.
Oh,
before
are
my
you
big
doing a
trip.
show next week? Yeah, the first.
Yeah, the first.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here on the 1st. I leave on the 4th. So next week is our last show. As a reminder, don't forget, Nick is going to be playing horror games through the month of October. So you're going to be essentially the same time that we do our regular show, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, but it's going to be Nick streaming horror games in the spirit of Halloween. If you would like to vote on what games you would like Nick to play, because he's put up a list of games, the poll is up on our Discord, and if you want to have some a say about what he plays, go to our Discord. That's you can vote. What's currently at what's it at right now?
Currently, The Walking Dead: Saints and Sinners Chapter 1 is leading with the Callisto Protocol and Saturnalia tied for second.
And do you have are any of those VR?
The Walking Dead is VR.
Okay, good. Yeah, and we did do a test last week of
We did do a test, and
it seems
it
to work.
works. Like I can play a VR game, I can stream it, and I can I had to have a controller in my pocket with the microphone, the like string microphone going up to my ear in order to talk and have my voice heard. But there was no like chat overlay in VR. I had to have the text to speak, text to chat, no text to speech, from PlayStation active, and unfortunately, unfortunately, maybe it was the problem with the game I was playing. But look, Walking Dead is intense as well. I'd be playing the game, and then I'd hear the thing talk, and I'm like, "Wait, what is it saying? What is it saying? I can't hear you over the gunshots." So I kept having to ask, like, say that again? Say that again?
So you can watch Nick play horror games every Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern for the month of October. I will be back the first week of November. So then continuing on with our music. Where am I? And
Although, wait, where was it? Who said? See, wait, do stars even fall? Things fall into stars. They're massive.
yeah, they do. They do.
Stars can fall into black holes.
Stars can fall through space into your fall. That's what a falling star is.
I mean, technically, aren't all stars falling? Because like the universe is expanding, man, right? And we're all moving through space. How do you know we're not all just falling in different
We
directions?
are. We're all falling.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
What is a starfall? Starfall education. Yeah, that's nothing else.
I swear to God, I've heard that somewhere before, though.
Yeah.
I just don't know where.
Yep. There's nothing named Starfall. Starfall movie from starfall.com, which is the Starfall, like learning app. Anyway, moving right along. Can we close this out? Yes, we can. Thank you for calling. Thank you for listening to GameHounds, episode 693. We did record this on Sunday, February 24th, 2023. I've been Edie Sellers. With me has been Nick Nicola. Ways to get a hold of us. GameHounds.net is our website. GameHounds@gmail.com is our email. We record this show live every Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern here on YouTube and on Twitch. On YouTube, we are GameHounds Vids, VIDS, as in videos, all one word. On Twitch, we are the GameHounds. Month of October is going to be Nick at that time streaming shows, since I will be out of town. I may be able to chime in as well. I will also do my best to maybe post to our YouTube any streaming, maybe be streaming from Bali. I don't know, but do subscribe if you like what you see. If you've seen it, if you haven't done it yet, please like this video if you're watching it now. If you are not a subscriber, please do subscribe. It does very much make a difference. I very much do appreciate it. So please do so. And we are 100% Patreon funded. Thank you so much to all of our patrons. I don't have my list right now. I'm sorry. I'm going to look it up. But if you would like to be a patron, our Patreon is patreon.com/GameHounds. Were it not for you, we would not be video casting. We'd still be an old-fashioned, old audio podcast. So thank you for being part of history. You actually moved us into a whole new way of doing GameHounds. Gosh, what was it, like 6 or 8 years ago? Thank you so much for that. And if you'd like to be a patron, all you have to do, $1 a month. We don't ask for much. $1 a month is all we ask, just to help pay for some of the subscriptions that we actually use for the show. Patreon.com/GameHounds. Nick, we'll see you next week for the very last time. And everybody, Thanks so much for being in the chat room. I know that AC Wraith, of course, providing all of our links for everything that we talked about. If you want to find something that we mentioned, look in the chat. AC Wraith has put or the comment section. AC Wraith has put a link there. So thanks, everyone. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next week. Bye. And music's out. And so Discord. Yeah, don't forget our Discord server. That is where I announce when I'm about to go live, because I don't always know that I'm going to start streaming until after I start streaming. Go to our Discord server, join our Discord, become a member of the community. You get to do things like vote on what we're going to be doing, what games we're going to have. Sometimes we have the Will I Eat This? I'm still looking for those pineapple snack cakes. I came real close to finding them. But we do lots of interesting stuff. But most importantly, that's when we're about to go live, or if we need to cancel a show, that's also where we mentioned it. So please join our Discord. But I'm going to put on Discord. It's 5 o'clock now. I'll probably be streaming about 6-ish or so. And you can see where I am compared to last week. And it's just quite a bit farther along. Still got a long way to go, though, because this is a big game. And have a great week, everyone. Thank you for being here. See ya. Bye.
Bye.